Welcome to Tales from the Tap. My name is Frankie and this is my co-host,
Stan the Man.
and we are excited to talk to you about TDM, KM?
TDM, I think is the set code, which I hate because it's Tarkir Dragonstorm.
Yeah.
What was wrong with TDS? I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason for the naming convention. Somebody can let me know in the comments why I'm wrong.
Yeah.
With that being said, though.
Yeah, with that, sorry, I have to just know. I have to know what the
Oh,
acronym
and he's
is.
looking it up, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. Okay, it's TDM.
It is
There you
TDM,
go.
yeah, because
We
you wrote
got
it that way.
TDM, perfect.
I just remember seeing it in the notes that you were writing and being like, why is it TDM? This is pissing me off.
Yeah. So, what are you most excited about for Tarkir?
One of the things I'm excited about, store owner talk. The set is so cool. Like, it's actually just gas. And end spoiler season, like, they kept spoiling multiple cards. Like, the dragons, obviously. There's the new Dragonstorm card, or not Dragonstorm, but there's a new, like, Rooftop Storm for dragons.
Yes.
Draco something. And your dragons are free. The new Elspeth is a token doubler and a planeswalker. Like, what a passive for a planeswalker, right?
So good.
And they just kept spoiling cards. The new Ugin. Ugin is insane. They just kept spoiling cards that are either insane for constructed, insane for commander, or really fun for commander.
Yeah.
And I really like fun commander stuff, like the new Abzan dragon, where it's like 40 toughness on your guys. Oh, well, they lose half their life or something.
Everyone's dead.
I'm like, okay, well, now if you play your five color walls and you got Arcades, you're just having the most fun. All of that's just really culminated in the set being really cool. Tarkir is my personal favorite plane. I think they did a sick job with this. I think this set by itself just outdoes what the three sets together did the first time around. Especially in the ways that, like, some of the cards from the first set, they homage to, obviously, in just like the best ways. I love the baby sea Drino. I love all Tarkir, just kind of like I simp for it. So, and the set's just gonna do well. Like, it's already pre-selling for me like insanely well, which obviously is good for the business. So I can't complain there. And it's doing this with Final Fantasy coming around the corner. So just the fact that it's doing so well, already outselling Aether Drift, and I ordered more of it, so I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
And also, one other thing, not to cut you off, I normally don't like theme decks, but I opened a product already, which you can see in front of you. Guys can't see, but Frank can see. Normally Frank helps me out for this process, but because I got the product so early, I was like, I can open my store product early as well.
And I'm in a show, so I'm
Yeah,
tired.
true. Frank's been in the show, which is really cool. You guys should check it out if you're local. And they brought back that theme decks where, like, you can pick one of the clans and they take a pack out, but you get like a starter pack. And usually I don't like that. Pokemon does it as well, but for this one it's pretty good. I was opening them. You still get your pre-release rare that can be any rare. So, like, just because you're getting Soul Tie doesn't mean you're going to get a Soul Tie pre-release promo.
Sure.
But then you still get a rare or mythic in your clan colors, which is already pretty good because, as we'll talk about later, a lot of the rare mythics in the clan colors are pretty strong for limited. They're just crazy bombs. And then the pre-built deck you get just has good cards.
Yeah.
Then you get to rip 5 packs and go. Where previously the starter deck has always left me wanting more. And then there's like the store owner logistics of, like, what if everybody wants one clan? That's really annoying. It feels like they've kind of balanced them out pretty fairly this time. Unlike last time where
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. Last time I remember going to pre-release, it was packed. Everybody wanted Mardu, even though Abzan was the best. Smart people wanted Abzan, which was the second most popular. And then if you got stuck with the rest of them, which was like Soul Tie or whatever, everybody was like, oh, man. And then, like, Treasure Cruise just ended up being, like, amazing. Just people slept on Soul Tie for sure because it ended up being so good.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, people in line being like, oh man, they're already out of Mardu. I'm stuck with Jeskai. Like, come on. Like, I hate that kind of complaining thing. And it also, like, just makes all these extra stairs for pre-release.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, I think they did a good job, and I'm excited for it either way.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that you touched on that I'm also really excited about is when I saw Tarkir, I was, like, really nervous because I think that, like, the 3-color stuff they did last time isn't very good, and there's only, like, a few cards specifically, like, from Tarkir that, like, it was a powerhouse in Standard in its time, but, like,
Oh, right,
you don't
exactly.
see a lot of that overflow into Pioneer. Like, you're not like,
Agreed.
oh my gosh, Tarkir has so many Pioneer cards. It doesn't.
Yeah, and it really should, considering what we got from that plane the first time.
Yeah. And so I was nervous that, like, the 3-color stuff was going to be really great for Commander, but like not really good for Constructed or for Limited. And after like reviewing the set in its entirety, I've been like, wow, they did it right.
Yeah, I totally
Praise
agree.
be. Like,
I feel like now that if we finish writing the show notes, which shout outs, we'll get into it, but after writing the show notes, I think I regret not doing that specifically that you mentioned. Is we should have probably made like a list of like our top 10 original Tarkir cards that were like super high impact. Because like if you think about it, specifically to Pioneer, which I know is your format, Siege Rhino, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, Monastery Mentor. I guess Swiss Spear sees some play, but like Monastery Swiss Spear, Mentor, Ugin, Siege Rhino. I'm trying to think of other cards. Whip of Erebus, I guess, was a pretty good card, but that was like a Theros thing that led into Soul Tie being good. All like the dragons, like Dragonlord Solumgar, Dragonlord Jamoka, all these cards that were super high impact in standard, and then for a little bit could get like niche play in modern.
Like Jamoka is played in the sideboard of Lotus Field, and obviously Treasure Cruise is played in Phoenix.
Yes, Treasure Cruise is the big one. That's banned in modern, really good in Pioneer. Although people that wanted it banned, which we said no, and then ended up being like totally fine. No fetch lands, no ability to Thought Scour currently. It's totally fine. Yeah, that's just easily the most played card. Otherwise, I'm trying to think of that much other stuff we're getting from like Khan's block in Pioneer, and it's like nothing really. So I'm loving, like you said, seeing all these new iterations of some of these cards. We'll get into it later, but specifically like the new Sorak that's like uncounterable. I'm like, oh man, that is so cool. And lower costs as well. Like a lot of the cards just benefit from being cheaper. Like I think this baby Siege Rhino might get played even if it's worse, simply because it's like a mana cheaper. Which if you're gonna cut anything off of a card, making something less mana intensive is always the strongest thing you can do to it.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. I'm really excited. I actually don't want to talk about it more because
we're just going to get into it, right? Yeah. Normally our small talk is super yappy, but we're going to get into some quick housekeeping. As always, we did mention it, but the best way you can support the show is through our Patreon. Those who already support and are on the Patreon know this, but for those that don't, if you are in the Patreon, you get the show notes early. So once we're done recording, we're going to post the show notes on the Patreon sometime tonight or tomorrow morning whenever Frank gets to it, and you'll get a synopsis of the episode before time. A lot of what we don't get to talk about in the notes, you get to see as well, so you might see some stuff we didn't get to touch on, or just funny tidbits of notes where Frank and I were talking with each other before I cleaned it up, etc. And then I try to add some funnies or references in there for you guys as well. Like if I see something that like references another card or it's just like a fun fact, I'll try to put it in there if I remember to.
That's why you write some of that. I'm always like, why is that?
Why is that
for
in
the
there?
notes people? Got it.
Exactly. For all the like 3 people to read the notes. But anyways, I know. For me, it's kind of fun to like read stuff like that, so I try to do that for you guys. And then obviously the Patreon has other perks as well, like coaching. We'll play your deck as we find more time to stream, or streaming in Discord when we get into the group calls. I know you had a big session this week earlier where like 6 of you guys were practicing in a league, and I was like, let me not go in there and distract them.
You also get access to the episode early. You will get it a day before like everyone else does. That's
Patreon before YouTube, and the show will always be free on YouTube, which leads us into the next part where if you are watching on YouTube right now and you haven't already, can you please check down below? It really helps us out if you subscribe. I know it's annoying that people ask, but we just have to do it. Like, comment, subscribe. Anything you do helps us go a long way in the algorithm. Recently, a bunch of our shorts have been kind of popping off. So if you're one of the new people that has seen us from the shorts and are checking us out, it really goes a long way and we appreciate it. It just helps us move more into like upgrading the content and just making the content just better for you guys in the future. Otherwise, our Discord is always free access. We have specific channels in there locked for like Patreons, but otherwise the whole Discord is open and free, and there's always a ton of discussion, help with deck lists, talking about new technology like we have been with Tarkir, and also if you're local, borrowing cards for tournaments or maybe meeting up for all the Grand Prix that are coming up, the regionals. I know Julian specifically is like, I have nobody to go to the RC with, so I don't know if I even want to go because it's kind of expensive to go solo. And then beyond that, if you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything like that, we are on also all those other platforms. And the show will always be on there as well. We do have some people that still listen only on like Spotify or only on Apple, which is totally fine. We definitely respect the grind, and we appreciate you guys just for watching and being with us.
That's it. All right, let's get into Tarkir. So the first things first is the new mechanics. I forget. Do you want to talk about them? Do you want me to read them off? You typically like.
Normally
What?
we yap a lot during this section, and I kind of feel like these mechanics are pretty straightforward for the new stuff we're getting. They're cool. All of them are good. I think, in my opinion, all of them are good. Let me just read them off and tell you what they do, and then we'll just jump into some stuff because I know Frank has a lot to talk about with what we want you to expect for pre-release. And this is specifically mostly catered towards sealed, but you'll get some of our limited drafting takes as well in there. I actually did have time to read the set for once too, so I'll be able to help Frank a lot, and he won't just be picking up all the slack by himself. But one of the first new mechanics is omens. So these are basically just adventures, except when you cast the omen, they shuffle back into the deck instead of going into like the adventure zone. Small nerf because getting the adventure is obviously like almost like getting a free card. However, shuffling back into your deck has a lot of benefits. These omens are currently attached to only dragons, I believe. But yeah, you can basically any rule that would have attached to an adventure is the same as an omen. You can cast it either or. Because you're casting it as a spell, alternate casting costs are fine, like if you have omniscience, etc. The next one is the I guess all the keywords kind of had a connection to one of the clans. The omens specifically are connected to the dragons. The next keyword is the Mardu ability. It is mobilize X, typically for 1, but other ones have like X or a certain number. On attack, if a creature has mobilize, they create X tapped and attacking 1/1 red creature tokens. Those tokens sacrifice on end step, so it's not as broken as it sounds. Not every creature in the format is a Rabble Master all of a sudden, but they're just good, and there's a lot of ways to benefit from these 1/1s that you're getting, especially from the sacrifice, or just the fact that you're getting either a red attacker or just a ton of bodies going wide. Frank will get into it more, but there's a very strong mechanic, and it's very, very poignant towards Mardu. Kind of like how Frank and I mentioned earlier, the set is just like such a good homage. Like it's really, truly paying tribute to the original block, which kind of hurts in a way where like Aether Drift for me, I know they're kind of in the same time zone, but Kaladesh is also like one of my favorites. I would say like top 3. I love Kaladesh.
Sure.
Everything about it. Artifact sets are always just a jam for me because they're high power. But Aether Drift really felt lackluster to Kaladesh. I mean, obviously there was 3 planes with Muruganda and Amonkhet. And don't get me wrong, Amonkhet's cool, but and Muruganda is a plane. But I really just wanted a Kaladesh set, and it wasn't that. And so a lot of it felt me leaving like desiring more. With this set, it just they're on it, and I love everything about that. Going into the next keyword, we got the ability for Teamer, which is Harmonize. I did put in the notes that I think it's the least cool of the mechanics. I know Frank disagreed with me on this, so I'm gonna let him jump in.
Yeah, so it's not that I think that this is the least cool of the mechanics, because I think that
Well,
I guess we have a different definition of cool, because my definition of cool is how useful is it going to be within like limited format.
That's fair.
Harmonize to me is way better than Flurry. I think Flurry is really Jeskai, but Flurry is not very supported within like this set, and so it's like I just think that Flurry sucks.
Yeah, no, you're
because
right.
it's just like they have like 7 cards that are Flurry or something dumb like that. It's not that low, but it's low.
With that context, 100% agreed, because I know you were writing the notes for the limited portion, and I was reading it with my like constructed hat on. And Flurry is so Jeskai, which we'll get into in a second, and very just like to the point. And 2 spelling in limited is really hard consistently. We're like, oh, casting a guy with flashback out of the graveyard. Well, we're both hellbent. Like so much easier. Yeah, you'll definitely get a lot of value out of this in limited. So for those people picking the Teamer deck, be advised. Teamer had Ferocious last time, which is why I said it was like the least cool. Like if you look at the old mechanics, it was like Delve, Ferocious. Bolster or whatever they got. Outlast. Outlast was also pretty lame. So Abzan kind of gets like the boring one, you know what I mean? But it's just so strong. Like Outlast wasn't that strong, but the new one is very strong, which we'll get into. Did you have something to add before I just keep reading the?
No, I just forget what you said. Something about like if you're playing Teamer, you basically said a word that rhymed with harmonize, and I wanted to be like say
Oh, be
harmonize.
advised.
Yeah, I was gonna say Teamer players be advised, harmonize.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't forget to activate
Thank
that.
you, Stan. Appreciate that.
That's gonna be a short. Yeah. So Harmonize is basically Flashback and Convoke had a baby. The only problem is that the baby is it can only tap your creatures for generic mana, which I think is one of the things holding it back for myself. If it was like a truly like Convoke, where Convoke lets you tap creatures to help pay for the cost, but like a white creature can make a white pip. And for Harmonize, you can't. You can only pay for generic, which is kind of a good thing for new players because it's going to incentivize. Well, it will not incentivize you to tap your whole team and go shields down on a spell that might be pretty medium. But either way, Harmonize is letting you cast cards again out of the graveyard, similar to Flashback, but it's not necessarily. Is it only on sorceries, I believe, like or spells? I don't think there was any creatures that had like a harmonize ability.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I should have looked that up, but I'm pretty sure it's just spells having harmonize. But Teamer and Jeskai in Tarkir specifically have this awesome thing where like they take the red blue spells thing and just give it the nudge it takes to like become a fully fleshed out clan where Jeskai's like, we're spell slinging and we're smart and we're monks and we go aggro and
We're smart and
really
monks.
efficient with how we're using it and we're two spelling and here's why. And then Teamer's just like, we cast spells and also we have muscles, big tree muscles. 4/4, I'm ferocious, also stubborn denial. Anyways, the next keyword is also a dragon mechanic. This one is Behold. And I can't wait to say behold every time I do this in my most Yu-Gi-Oh voice.
Behold.
Exactly. Anytime you want to come play at the store and we record our matches for MTG Chicago, shout out Sal. If you talk like a Yu-Gi-Oh character, it's bonus points. Like you will get more camera time, I promise. With that being said, Behold requires the player to, as an additional cost, reveal a card to boost the effect of the spell. Right now it's only dragons, so you would behold by revealing a dragon out of your hand to boon the power of whatever spell you're casting or effect you're trying to behold with the mechanic on. And it does enhance the spell's power pretty nicely. We've seen similar cards like this in the past, but now it has an official keyword. Oh, excuse me. Oh,
I just
wow, that was
wanted to
bad.
add the only thing that's important also to know is that you can choose a dragon that is on the field.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Behold, you can reveal a dragon in play, which is similar to, like, there was cards I've done it before. I should have pulled up one of the old ones, but as an additional cost, you must have a dragon or you can reveal a dragon. Now it has an official keyword. And for those that are worried about weird rules interactions, if for whatever reason your hand is already revealed or you're already revealing a dragon for a spell on the stack, you can still reveal the same card for another behold. The same card can be revealed multiple times. It's like bringing that same toy to Show and Tell from Jimmy Neutron. This is the ninth time you brought Ultra Lord to Show and Tell.
Ultra
Behold.
Wow, that took me back. Holy moly.
Anyways, the next keyword, and this is for the Abzan. So for those that like big butts, and you cannot lie,
We do.
we got Endure for you, and Endure is typically Endure plus a number. So Endure X, and then you would do the ability where you can either put X11 counters on the specified creature. So like if it's an enter the battlefield effect, you can put X11 counters on the creature entering, or you can create an XX white spirit creature token. So if you have not bolster, that's the old one. Endure, like for let's say 5 on something crazy, Endure 5. You could make a 5/5, or you could put 5 counters on the guy. And that ability is honestly pretty strong. There's a lot of ways to make your guys big together or go wide. And there was a specific Hydra in the set that like on ETBs, it endures on whatever creature just entered. So a lot of ways for the absent to get big and go wide, and that is usually very good and limited. So we'll definitely see some of that going around. It's kind of like a mix of bolster and fabricate. It's a stronger baby than what Teamer had going on, but fabricate lets you make multiple servos, I believe, not a big like construct. So that would be the difference for Inter. The next keyword ability is, I guess it's actually just simply an ability, not a keyword. But we got the Sultai one, which is Renew. IMO, Sultai always gets the cool stuff. That's my favorite clan. And this ability lets you basically pay the renew cost of a creature, which is typically mana. Or not necessarily just creatures, but I think it might be mostly creatures because they're like, actually I think it is all creatures because they're supposed to be like necromancers and using the decayed corpses for extra bonuses.
Yeah, it's kind of like shoot, my favorite card for my original standard deck, Dragmangler. It was Scavenge.
Yes,
it's kind of like Scavenge.
Yes, very similar to Golgari, but the Rakshasa are so cool. You can pay the cost and exile the card that you're activating from the graveyard to get an effect. And a lot of them are like putting counters on guys. Like there's a lifelink creature that I thought was really good. And from the graveyard, you can renew it to put a lifelink counter on a guy in play. Lifelink specifically, there's quite a bit of it in Sultai from what I saw. I don't know how much, you probably have the numbers, but I noticed Sultai had a lot of lifelink, which kind of makes sense since their poster child dragon is a 6/6 flying lifelink. But with all that life you're gaining, its power is that it gives delve to all your spells. However, when you cast spells, you lose life equal to their mana cost. So like paying that much life, you kind of have to need a way to sustain it, which kind of makes sense to me. And yeah, Sultai just find a way to use their trash the best. The next ability word is
trash, man. I just throwing trash everywhere.
Exactly. The final word ability that we got is for Jeskai. And as we mentioned, it's very Jeskai. This is Flurry, not the partner from Paper Mario, thankfully. When you cast your second spell in a turn, get an effect. And this effect only triggers if the card with Flurry is already in play. So you can't cast a spell with Flurry as your second spell and expect to get that. I mean, I know that question is going to come up a lot for me this weekend at pre-release, so I figured I'd mention it for you guys. But it is really cool. Just because Jeskai and Teamer are like both clans that utilize creatures in different ways while combining them with their ability to multicast spells, and it is very it for both of them, but in really cool, different, unique ways. So I think they did a good job with these, and they're all pretty relevant. I think most of them will get played in standard in some capacity, which is awesome. And then as far as the archetypes for limited, we're just going to kind of breeze past these, but if you are building limited archetypes, your Abzan one is, believe it or not, Endure. And then Jeskai is Flurry, supposedly. Sultai is Renew. So you're basically just playing Sultai, and then you get bonus effects in the graveyard. Mardu is aggro, and you're trying to mobilize, so that's pretty simple. And then Teamer is Harmonize, believe it or not. And yeah, so Teamer and Sultai kind of just built themselves, and green usually has giant creatures, so I feel like that's going to be something to look forward to in Limited. Mardu aggro looks pretty strong to me, though, from the cards I was reading. And then with that being said, there's 5 other archetypes that split off into 2 color pairs. There's Orzhov Sacrifice, surprise, surprise. Orzhov Sacrifice. We've got Is It 2 Spells, which is a cool branch off of the Teamer Jeskai thing we talked about. And Golgari counters, which is actually kind of interesting. Golgari doesn't always do counters, but like you mentioned, actually with Scavenge. Scavenge was a 1/1 counters mechanic from Return to Ravnica, and it's very similar to what Sultai does in Tarkir. So really cool, I think awesome, and it's one of the stronger things that Sultai does in its color mechanics. I was reading a lot of cards that were like, man, moving these counters around are very powerful. And there was one card that like becomes a 6/6 if you have like 4 different counters, and it's just giving it all those counters would also make it so powerful, like a 6/6 lifelink, whatever. Trample maybe. Really strong cards. The next one is Boros Go Wide Token. So you just like forgot your black cards in your mobilized deck. And then the last one is Simic Leaves the Graveyard. So some Insidious Roots kind of thing going on. Sultai and Temur had a baby. I think it's actually pretty thematic, but you're kind of really banking on getting the green renew cards or whatever out of Sultai, and then whatever Temur was doing in Harmonize, but for blue, and mixing it together. Maybe it'll be good. Frank will definitely let us know in a little bit. The next section we were going to get into, unless you had something to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something about the next section and kind of like how we're framing this episode and making it different from our normal like pre-release episodes. So
yeah,
instead we were like, hey, let's cut down on our small talk. Let's cut down on the mechanics, not talk about them as much. And then instead of giving you tons of data, even though I love to talk about,
we love data
about
it's in the notes.
Card data. We decided let's try and like make hot predictions for what's going to happen in constructed and limited, and like do a deep dive of like this is what we think things are actually going to be like, instead of just telling you like what cards we think are good. And so we truncated it, and with that we're going to jump into like
just trimming some of the fat.
What we think is going to happen in constructed.
Cool. So jumping into this constructed section. I didn't actually write too much because I was worried I was going to just ramble. I probably could have gone deeper, honestly, because there's so many cards to talk about in the set. I'll let Frank go first. He had a top cards for constructed list. We might not be able to talk about everything for constructed, but we'll give it a decent amount of time before we jump into the limited talk and the pre-release prep. And if the prep goes quickly enough, we might jump back into a little bit of constructed talk or splice it into the yapping during the pre-release prep. But we want to keep that focus for you guys that are ready to win this weekend at your pre-releases.
Yeah. Before I start, I'm just gonna say I didn't talk about Ugin because like I think we all kind of know like Ugin's gonna do.
I actually didn't put Ugin on my list either, and I was like, ooh, did I miss that? And I was like, I mean, everybody knows.
Yeah, everyone knows that like Ugin's gonna be hot. Probably.
And yes, I will try it in Tron for the 15,000 people that have been asking me.
Yeah, but I wanted to take more takes that I think like people aren't going to be thinking about, but I think will actually be good. The first one I wanted to talk about was this basic tri-land kind of cycle. These lands that enter tapped unless you control the blue one is a mountain or a forest.
Yeah, so every one of them self-references its clan.
Yes. So the first one that I think and I have a ranking for these. I think the blue one is the best.
The one that makes you think uncounterable?
Yes, the next spell you cast this turn can't be countered.
So
it's
cool.
It's any spell.
Yeah.
This feels like Cavern
There's
Souls,
quite a bit of uncounterable
crazy.
too in the Temur deck as well. Like Temur just has a lot of uncounterable stuff, like the Surrak we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
Just in general, I think it's good. It's not quite Beseju who shelters all or whatever it's called, but it is efficient and also makes mana that's colored, which is nice. Definitely a card that you can like slot into your main board, and like you mentioned, it's not quite Cavernous Souls, but because it kind of like free slots in as like a basic, like you could put it as like one of your blue sources. Not the worst card.
Well, and sometimes you I know for like Domain, even though Domain's rotating out, you want your board wipe to be the thing that can't be countered, and you're like, I don't care about this Hauntwoods right now because I'm dying.
Right.
And so I think that it can be any spell. I think is really primo.
That's really true because there is quite a bit of ramp, and there's already a lot of ramp in standard, but there's quite a bit of ramp support in this set. I think 3 or 4 cards specifically are not the explosive vegetation effects. Search for 2 forests or basics or whatever. Put them into play.
Yeah.
Multiples. One of them is a Omen Dragon, and that's already good. Like, get 2 forests, put the dragon back in my deck. When I get the dragon, I'm going to be really happy. The mythic for Temur is like this 8 mana dragon, and it spreads a bunch of damage based on your lands, I want to say. Yeah. And all that really seems really powerful in a way where if you have this card in your deck, even just let's say you're playing it in as a one-of in your Atrexa deck because you're ramping. Uncounterable Atrexa, I'm super happy to have that, and then it just lets all my other spells be uncounterable too. I think you're right. I think it's probably the best one. All of them are decent. Just some of them are excuse me, so bad. Apologies. I went to dinner right before this.
Heartburn.
Not heartburn, just burping. I promise I'm fine. I promise I'm fine. But no, for real, the other ones are not as exciting as what this one could have the potential for.
Yeah, to me, it's the blue one, the red one, take a step down.
Sure.
The black one, take steps down. Green and white.
Yeah.
So the red one next, the Quarry Mountain Monastery. This enters tapped unless you control plains or an island. And you can pay 4 to exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. I just think that for some of the red decks, this is going to be extra gas, extra ways for them to draw cards and play. It's basically a draw spell for red. I think that's pretty sweet. The black one is tap to exile a creature card from your graveyard, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token.
Right.
I think this matters for Insidious Root stuffs. Insidious Roots.
Like small slices and stuff like that.
Well, and on top of it, it's just like it's an engine. It's kind of like a Murex effect, where it's like I can just make
just because you have the engine, and if you have a way to support it, it's just gonna have its utility.
Yeah, and then the other two, WotC was like these lands can kill themselves.
Green, whatever.
Kishla, the green one is just
pay 4
surveil 2.
Yeah.
And then the white one,
and its color, it's like something. It's something.
It's not awful, but it's not good.
Like it's gonna be a one of.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a one
right.
of.
It'll be a one of because like you want it to just like get rid of lands that you're gonna top deck.
I'll put it this way: Castle Ventress was like really popular, really popular.
Yes.
And this is just better than Castle Ventress, realistically. And Graveyard in the colors it's in matters also more, but it's also just like.
Right, and it's 4 mana versus like Ventress was.
No, it was 4. 4 plus tap.
Ventress was 3.
No. 4
Oh,
plus
it
tap.
is 4 plus tap. Yeah.
It is just straight up better than Castle Ventress. It's also I think green and 3, not double blue and 2.
Well, this is also 4 plus tap.
But is it like 3 generic?
3 generic.
Right, so like much easier to use, obviously because it's expecting you to be in 3 colors. So like I think in general it's easier to splash. In like Simic or Teamer or whatever, if you're ramping, it's gonna be easier to use.
Yeah.
Definitely has utility.
Yeah. And then the last one is the white one, which it makes the 2 dudes that are tapped and attacking sacrifice them at the end of combat.
Right. How much mana is it though?
3.
3 mana to get 2 attackers.
Yeah.
It's
then
like
die.
It's definitely like strong, but like boring. Like I almost kind of like, because like Legion's Landing is like the biggest example I can think of that's like similar. Where like you would play that and you'd be so happy, and then when it flipped, you'd be even happier. Like, oh, I'm grinding out guys. Because they come in tapped and attacking, I think that's pretty strong. I do think Mardu has a lot going for it, and there's like the 4 mana dragon in Mardu that like if guys just came in, they do like double damage or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's something. I'm sure there's something there. I haven't really brewed or sat down and brewed decks out, and there's definitely something. Like I think all 5 of the lands are really cool. When they got spoiled, people were saying stuff like these suck, they're crap, boring. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, eat your vegetables. These are fine.
Eat your vegetables.
Like these are fine. I think they're all cool. Obviously, the blue ones like way cooler than the other ones, but all of them for their niche have a purpose. It looks like to me, like off the bat, and I think you could easily brew with them.
Yeah, I'm still gonna stick on the train of blue, red, step, black, steps on the other 2, but like the bottom 2 aren't unplayable.
Well, like Weenie Aggro, like the white one I think seems good to me for sure. I think there's high power in the white one.
I just feel like paying 3 mana to get 2 dudes that aren't permanent. If they were permanent dudes, I'd be like, this is a fine card.
Sure.
But the fact that you lose them.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why, because you're getting 2. If it was like Legion's Landing, it'd be like pay 3, get a guy, you keep him, he sucks.
Yeah. I agree.
We'll see. Record this, clip it, and make this short. Who was wrong? Let us know in the comments.
The next one is Magmatic Hellkite. I think this is the best variant of a land destruction creature we've ever seen. It's
kind of like Krenko's Blood Crusher or whatever?
Yes, except it's a 4/5, and when your opponent gets the basic land, it comes in with a stun counter on it.
Oh, sure.
What? They can't even use the land next turn?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Is it destroy non-basic too?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. The 4 mana like guy comes in and destroys a land. Never was really super exciting for me.
No.
A Buzz Crusher, because it didn't target, was like the big deal for Lotus Field, right?
Yes.
Does this target? Yeah, so like it doesn't hit Lotus Field. I think that was like the boon for Krenko's Buzz Crusher. But I think probably what it has going for it straight up is that it is a dragon that's doing it. You know what I mean?
Well, that it's a dragon, and I think that there are going to be enough scenarios where your opponent not only getting a land destroyed, like as a sideboard card, if their land is destroyed and then they can't use it the next turn, like that could be enough edge.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like these like aggro decks. Like I think Mardu might actually have some play. This is the kind of guy that would support that, where like your big guys are punishing them, and then like you've already hopefully got this early pressure out.
Yeah.
It is interesting though.
Yeah. Next one is I actually feel like this is my hot take, my hot take, is I think that the uncommon dragon adventure cycle, these omen dragons, are playable cards at a minimum in standard.
Oh, like the
Like the first one, and I specifically mentioned the red one and the green one I thought were the best. The red one is Runescale Stormbrood, 4 and a red. It on the creature side is flying whenever you cast a non-creature spell or dragon
It's
spell.
+2/+0.
Yeah, this creature goes +2/+0, and it's a 2/4.
Yeah.
And it's 1 and a blue on its omen side for counter target spell with mana value 2 or less.
Yeah, like a baby changed the equation for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, that card when it got spoiled, I was like, this is interesting. And there's already like some Behold cards that were like, Behold Dragon, do X, Y, and Z that seem good. I know a buddy of ours is building a like Jeskai Dragons control deck. It really doesn't look good to me, I'll be honest. I wasn't trying to be like mean or whatever, but like it looks really, really weak. And I think that control doesn't seem the way I don't think it's going to be a control deck. I definitely think there's going to be more than one dragon deck though. And they're going to be like mid-range, either like mid-range aggro or mid-range tempo, like the blue-red one, that are like trying to grind you out of value.
Yeah, I think that what I like about these two cards, specifically these two dragons, is the modality of like you would already play like a 2-mana, like currently the one control deck in standard is playing like 1 or 2 of like negate and change the equation and like cards that are medium. Yeah, cards that are medium, and now that you could like in the late game be like it's another threat.
Yeah,
I think is fun.
Well, not to mention it shuffles back in, so like that's like you're keeping the card. You're not like, oh, I get one or the other.
Right.
So good.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a lot of ways to support that. Like dragons got a lot of support. Be advised, dragons everywhere. Like for real.
Dragons everywhere.
Everywhere. Like I think it's gonna be so many dragons to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if the green decks actually play the dragon sniper card. The 1 mana like.
Vigilant Reach, Death Touch. That card's so cool.
It's such a cool card. I really love the card. The artwork is phenomenal. Like I posted, I was like, Tarkir's so fucking cool.
That guy's a sideboard card for sure. Like
I straight up though, I think
the Pixie decks are crying when they see that little 1 mana green reach your Death Toucher.
Yeah,
I'm killing your thing.
Well, like I don't know. It just seems like I look at a card like that. I'm like, okay, if dragons pop off, like I think they will, that guy's gonna be like a green cyber card or like some kind of like what is it like? It's not a Paw Patch formation that plummets, but there are other like modal cards that have plummet built in.
Formation plummets.
Does it? Yeah. Okay. I thought it was like Exile Graveyard instead. I can't remember.
No, it's do a thing and draw a card, destroy target enchantment. I think maybe it does.
I don't remember if it plummets or not, but I know there's like green cards that do like X, Y, or plummet, and it's usually like destroy artifact or enchantment, etc. I think those kind of effects are going to be more popular now. We talked about Vivian Reed from Foundations.
Oh yeah.
And she was the same thing. So maybe you're right. It does plummet because it's the same as
it is
-3.
Destroy target creature with flying.
Yeah. So Paw Patch formation already getting a ton of play. I think it's going to be even better now with all these dragons running around. Vivian Reed might be a card that's like hot too with these ramp decks running around.
Yeah.
Speaking of ramp, like if you're like maybe even Sultai ramping, Liliana Dreadhorde General, man, she's still running around. Nobody's been playing her. I think though, like because like aggro has been like the thing. And it's been such a fast aggro format. I think Tarkir finally has the cards that are giving you the reason to maybe want to slow it down a bit, or just like have the tools to beat up on these aggro players while you like dial it back. I don't know if it's gonna slow down standard until rotation, but it's definitely gonna give you reasons to want to play mid range.
Yeah, my fear is that after rotation, a lot of these cards are going to be really hot. But I don't know if it's good enough to slow the format down.
Right, or maybe there's just cards in here that kind of slot into aggro. But I do think that some decks might be incentivized to like slow their game plan a little bit just to get more oomph.
Yeah.
If for lack of a better term. And then I do think the Tarkir as a set really has like cards in it that after rotation or even like the next one are going to be cards that you're still building around the entire time they're in standard. Like, oh, I should play this deck, I should play that deck. It's going to be because of certain cards from Tarkir that are really making you want to play them. Unless Spider-Man's just cracked, you know, maybe Avatar Last Airbender is like, you know, going crazy. But anyways, what's your next card?
The other dragon was the Disruptive Stormbird. 4 and a green, it's flying. When this creature enters, destroy up to one target artifact or enchantment, and it's a 3/3.
Yep.
And then its Omen side is destroy target creature with power 3 or less, and it's 1 and a black.
That card is so cracked. Just like removal built in, shuffle back in, come in later, artifact enchantment removal. Pure utility all around. 5 mana is a lot to pay for like a disenchant, but you're getting the body.
But disenchant with a 3/3 flyer.
Yes, it's 3/3 flyer. I think this card is. It'll definitely be like a sideboard card for standard, but unless there's like a green black or there might be like a black dragons deck. Unironically, there's a lot of black dragon stuff going on. I saw a lot of people doing Jeskai dragons, but I'm like, there's a lot of reasons to do some black dragon stuff, which makes me excited to play like Decadent Dragon.
Yeah.
From Walls of Eldraine. But yeah, black red dragons. Like there's dragons in all colors, and they are very well supported in my opinion for constructed play. That kind of card though for limited, I'm sure he's on your list. Like kill a guy, shuffle back in later on. Oh, they're trying to play like their 6 mana Teamer sorcery or enchantment. Get rid of it. You know, you're not getting landfall dragons. I am.
Okay, so I didn't want to talk about that now because I think that that's super cool, but I will talk about it.
Sure.
So that is a card on my list as like one of my, again, hot takes.
Sure.
Is the Landfall Dragons card.
Yeah, the Teamer. It's the second from the top.
Dragon Back Assault.
Yeah.
When this enchantment enters, it deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. It's 6 mana. When a land you control enters, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying.
Yeah.
All I have to say, Lumra.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Lumra. I think that like there have already been like kind of creature-y, combo-y things that like land combos within standard already. And
Yeah.
I think like this could be like my board is gigantic, you board wipe, right, you're dead next turn.
Yeah.
Sort of a thing.
Well, the way I look at it, for me, it's like it really just reminds me. It's obviously not as strong as like Field of the Dead, which is like an insane card, but it has that same play pattern where like I look at Teamer for constructed and all the ramp utility they have, in addition to like really really good removal, strong early game creatures if they want to play them. You could even do like a domain deck still, where you're like playing like that dragon you just talked about with a black removal spell, slots in fine. Lots of ways to search for your lands, and the pips are really not restrictive, but like the pips, because a lot of the cards are either single pip or the colored pips are only the ones that refer to the clan. You're not so like jam packed on your like domain cards. And Domain was already like basically a Teamer deck plus, you know, like Atrexa colors.
Gosh, everything tokens make dragons.
Yeah, it just slots right in perfectly. I mean, if you're ramping, you don't even need Lumra like necessarily. If you're just ramping, and then you go, okay, have I like Sunfalled or have I nuked the board yet? No. Well, what does he have? Oh, everything's cheap. The 6 mana enchantment, kill everything. Then you play your dragon that like searches for 2 lands, and you play a land for turn or a Fabled Passage. You got 16 power in play right out the gate. They kill your board. Every land is a 4/4. It's just like Field of the Dead again, and they need to pop that enchantment right off the bat. I think it's gonna be constructed playable, assuming there's a ramp deck. And in limited, limited it's crap.
You already know. Yeah. The next one is Sage of the Skies. I actually think if there's anything that's going to slow the format down, it's Sage of the Skies. Sage of the Skies is 2 and a white. When you cast this spell, if you've cast another spell this turn, copy this spell, flying lifelink 2/3. I'm just imagining that on turn 5.
I'm glad you said that.
On turn 5 in control, you go get lost, cast this dude. I have 2/3s with flying and lifelink. Go. Like,
oh, I was thinking of it more as a pixie card. I'm being more. I'm way more detrimental or like evil.
Yeah, well, Pixie it's good for Pixie too. Don't get me wrong. I just think that there's a lot of decks that like this will help slow.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that Exactly. This is one of the cards. I'm glad you mentioned it. I forgot that was the name of the card. When you started reading it, I was like, this card is correct. The fact that you make a creature token with the copy is also really important because there's another card in Tarkir that is a 2-mana pixie that you bounce a guy when he comes in, and if it's a token, you draw a card. So like bouncing your token maybe after blocks or after you swung, drawing cards, already good, already doing pixie things.
That was on my list.
Perfect. Well, let's read it so I can keep talking about the
Sun
synergy.
Pearl Kirin. 1 and a white creature, Kirin, 2/1, flash, flying. When this enters, return up to 1 other non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. If it's a token, draw a card.
Yes, it's insane. The fact that it has flash also cracked. Extra card for Pixie. Now you have like a really strong reason to keep the white, or even do like Orzhov strats. And bouncing the token, really high impact, really easy to support, and I think that that's the kind of card that even goes even better with it. Where you're like, imagine you're like not necessarily has to be this way, but like turn 4, a hopeless nightmare that you already bounced back, and then the 2/3 flyer, and then you're like, cool. Just so you know, it's gonna happen again.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
And if they really wanted to, because now they have the pixie and the white guy, they might not even need this town. They could be a skirmishing rhino deck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really want to try that out. I know it's been a meme that I've been saying, but like skirmishing rhino seems like a really strong card. But yeah, this town plus that guy plus pixie, and you're flying 2/3 with lifelink. A lot of really strong synergies here. I think there's so many different ways you could brew the deck. And I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of like invalidates some of the aggro plans in a way where it's like a healthy triangle.
Right.
Not that I don't think standard is not that I think standard is bad right now. I think it's really good. A lot of people are like, for some reason, like all the boomers just like don't like domain or don't like red green aggro, and I'm just like the future is now. Like I don't know.
I mean,
standard just looks so good to me.
I personally don't like red green aggro, but that's because it feels like the deck is just so consistent and sometimes does my deck things better than my deck does.
Sure.
So that's the only reason I don't like red green aggro, and I agree with you. I actually think standard is like the best format. It's so good. However, I'm getting bored. I want like new stuff.
Well, that's why I'm excited for this.
Please, new
yes.
stuff.
Right. And have they told us what rotation was? I think they did, and I just keep missing it.
I think it's in August.
Okay.
I think it's in August.
I can't remember if it was after the Edge of Destiny set, which is the space set after Final Fantasy. I don't remember, but it is coming up around the corner. We're losing quite a bit of stuff. If you're building artifacts, make sure you're using the Lost Caverns artifacts because you're going to lose Brothers War and Dominaria. And yeah, Phyrexia's leaving. We're losing Atrexa. We're losing Shieldred finally. Not that she's doing that much crazy stuff on her way out. March of the Machine going away. Kind of a big deal. What lands are we losing that matter? The fast lands, get rid of them. Fast lands leaving actually I think is a big deal for the aggro decks. They're losing a lot of early efficiency there. But the Verges are doing a pretty good job of pretending to be on the level of a fast land in the turn 1 and 2 plays. Surveil lands I think are going to get even better, especially because the Verges are going to be kind of like picking up the slack.
It says fall of 2025.
Yeah. I love when they're just like not answering the question.
Cool.
Yeah, hey, when does it rotate? Figure it out.
Sometime between, August and November.
Yeah. You got it.
Cool, great. Anyway, the next card I have, I actually think that this card is kind of cracked. Voice of Victory. It's 1 and a white.
Dude, it's already like $20.
Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn, and it's got mobilized 2. It's a 1/3. I just think of this card as if it's a 3/3, because if your opponents can't cast spells on your turn, and you just attack with this thing every turn, it's coming in for 3 damage. And it's hard to kill. But
You said it's a 3/3?
well, no,
it's a 1/3.
It's a 1/3.
Yeah, sorry, it's a 1/3.
But it
I was
comes
gonna
in
say
with 2
3/3.
attacking.
No.
Yeah, you think about it as if like.
Well, it's supposed to be a bad blocker because it's literally Grand Abolisher plus, and Grand Abolisher has been like a $15 card since like ever.
Yeah. So this feels like taxes, but also like, right? If you're trying to do a temporary lockdown,
Right.
or do a Sunfall, this is a card that you like have to get rid of because you're like, I don't want a Sunfall or temporary lockdown for this one thing, but also
I can't interact.
I have to interact with it because it's got it's gonna come in with 3 damage every turn.
And if you added counter spells to your deck, you're just like totally cucked. So you kind of need to. It's a card that definitely is a must answer. I couldn't believe how much it was going for, but then I realized what it was. I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's also really good for these decks that we're talking about. Like Pixie might like it, especially because we talked about that guy where you're bouncing tokens. Bouncing tokens that are going to go away anyway, that's a hell of a token to bounce for your draw card.
Yeah.
And now it's like a 2-mana draw card ETB, which is crazy. On top of that, Jeskai already kind of wants to be spell slinging. The ability to be like, I'm doing my stuff.
Stop.
Just
Hold.
Just shut up.
Yeah.
I'm getting stuff done here. It's like
Shut
gonna
up,
be really
shut
good.
up, Daddy's working.
Get out of my office.
Get on my.
Anyways, what's your next one?
Scavenger Regent. So that's the 4-mana
I'm telling
dragon.
you, Black Dragons, man. I'm telling you.
It's the 4-mana dragon that says its omen is X black black. Each non-dragon creature gets -X/-X.
Yes.
Dragon board wipe. That then later is a 4-mana 4/4 with flying and ward. Discard a card.
Yep. Yeah, that card is one of the ones that I was like, this is really good for Black Dragons. Like, even if you like doing like Rakdos. Like, Rakdos Dragons was pretty strong during Fate Reforged. I'm seeing a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Next one is Sinkhole Surveyor. I actually think this card's dumb. It's 1 and a black, flying. Whenever this creature attacks, you lose 1 life, and this creature endures 1.
Yeah.
And it's a 1/3. So it's like you lose a life, and this dude just gets bigger every turn, or you make bodies for sacrifice fodder. I think that this can go in a lot of decks, and I think that this becomes a nightmare must answer because, like, if it's attacked twice, then it's a 3/5.
I mean,
Like,
it's not just
what
like
the
a
heck?
must answer. It's also like, it's just insane because it's a 2-drop. So it slots into, like you said, it slots into everything.
Everything.
This is another card that's like really good for like a Pixie aggro or a Mardu aggro. I really think Mardu aggro is going to be like legit. They gave you a lot of reasons to want to play it. On top of that, this is like to me one of those rares that you see in limited where you're like drafting. You're like, I will easily pack one, pick one. This guy, he is insane. If they don't answer the guy in limited, you're just running away with the game.
Yeah.
Like it's a 2-mana flyer, right?
Yeah.
Like this is probably
2-mana 1/3 flyer.
one of the best, if not the best, 2-mana creature for limited I've ever seen. Like it just
Not even for just
ends the
limited.
game.
I think he's constructed playable.
Oh yeah, for constructor for sure. It's just like then you get into all kinds of creatures that are like way strong. But yeah, no, he's one of the better cards in the set. I don't know what he's selling for right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if people slept on him and he just spikes up after like the first tournament of the weekend.
Perfect. I'm gonna buy all of them right now before anyone else does. The next thing is Surak, Elusive Hunter.
Yes.
This is the first time I think Surak, our boy, is like cracked.
Well, Surak, the 5-mana one, was really decent in
Oh,
standard.
the stuff can't be countered.
Yeah, and he had flash, I believe. So
Right.
like you were just doing teamer monsters back then,
Yeah.
and that was totally fine. Savage Knuckleblade was kind of cute. It was never like the best deck, but like it was like a playable deck.
Right.
This guy just screams to me like, what's going on?
Yeah. So he is a 3-mana 4/3. This spell can't be countered.
Right.
Has trample. Whenever a creature you control or a creature spell you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, draw a card.
So good.
If they target your dudes,
Always replaces itself. Always replaces every spell you cast. If they try to interact, assuming.
yep.
And I think I put in the notes. It's like Leah Bold at home, but your mom can cook. Like it's good. It's good. And like I said, Teamer wants to be doing this monster thing. Like
Yeah.
you follow that guy up with some dragon. Now if they counterspell, you're still replacing it. I don't know, man. That Surak seems crazy. Also 4-mana, 4-power trample on 3 is just not nothing, right?
Right. The next one is Tival, Arbiter of Virtue. This is the Sultai Dragon that he already talked about earlier. Flying lifelink spells you cast have Delve. Whenever you cast a spell, you lose life equal to its mana value, and it's a 6/6. I just think that there's going to be some kind of combo deck that's like going to just mill and then like turbo out Omniscience or
Yeah,
something.
it's definitely what was it? The Sphinx. I can't remember the Sphinx that they were collecting evidence with. There was a Sphinx evidence like you would basically mill them out with Breach the Multiverse.
Oh,
I forgot the,
yes. It's from
It's from Murders.
Murders.
I just
And
can't
it's
remember
like a a 6/6.
I just remember dying to it at an RCQ. It was like Demir Reanimator.
Yeah, yeah.
So cool. It's like it gives me that vibes, but stronger.
Well,
like,
this
is crazy.
You can help get out of Traxa for 4.
Yes.
Like it's just there's so many things that you could do.
Right.
It's wild.
And it's like the 6/6 lifelink flyer. That's a huge body. It's 5 mana. It's extremely efficient. The lifelink you're gonna get from it should pay off in the way that you can actually use the spells that you want to cast. And like I don't know. I think it's a good card. I actually put in my notes specifically since you're there that the one that seems like the best to me is Nerev, Heart of the Storm, which I think is the Mardu one.
Yeah.
I think he's crazy. Part of the reason why I think he's crazy is because he's 4 mana. And I think that Black-Red Dragons or Mardu in general just has a lot of support for it. He says that I think it's like if a creature enters this turn, it does double damage.
Yes.
So like that's already really good to mobilize. You theoretically already have all your mobilized guys out. If you have the guy that's like the voice of victory, they can't kill it before combat. You're like attack, mobilize all my guys, hit you for 2/2/2/2/2 or whatever, and then hopefully they can't respond because you have voice of victory. That play pattern to me just seems kind of cracked. And then it's a 4/4 dragon on top of that, so it's a terrific blocker. 4/5 dragon, terrific blocker.
For 4.
He out the gate. I'm reading them all and not thinking about anything. Not thinking about standard. Not thinking about just looking at cards in the set. That guy screams to me, I'm the best one.
Yeah.
The second best one to me is Ureni, Song of the Unending. You're gonna have to read this one for me because it has 8,000. It's like protection from white and black, flying,
So
8/8 or 10/10.
It's Teamer colors and then 5 colorless mana, 10/10. Flying protection from white and from black. When Ureni enters, it deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers your opponents control, where X is the number of lands you control.
Yeah, so like we talked about, assuming there's a ramp deck and you're already playing that land enchantment, you're already playing dragon that shuffles back in and gets basics. You have a ton of basics or just lands in your deck. You're playing Overlord of the Hauntwoods. You're just going crazy. Which Overlord of the Hauntwoods is gonna get so nuts. But
That's the deck I want to
like
play. This
that
deck
to me seems just insane. Like,
Yeah.
And then it's uncounterable on top of that because you're playing the activate land, the new land. You're like, boom, slam this guy down, wipe your board, one-sided board wipe. It's like almost like Palakrnos World Eater, if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously I think all the dragons are fine. Like you mentioned the Sultai one. I didn't mention him specifically because I'm a Sultai simp and it'd be biased. But yeah, exactly. They all seem playable though, genuinely. Like if you're gonna play a standard deck, they all seem like they can do a thing. The only one that I think is like a meme or like a commander only is Betor, Kin to All, because he's like the Abzan endure guy. And if you're enduring, you're probably already just trying to do that in a mobilized way where you can actually kill your opponent.
Yeah.
And he's like a commander guy where you're like, oh, I have 40 toughness in play and I haven't won for some reason.
I haven't won yet. That's so funny.
Go ahead and jump into your next card though.
The last card I have of the constructed stuff was, and this is actually a question. Do you think that we will find room for the uncommon land set that is based off of clans, like the Opulent Palace and the Nomad Outpost? Do you think they will be standard playable?
That's a good question. I think that yeah, I think they'll get played for sure.
Because we have the lands are really bad right now, and we don't have a good way of playing 3-color. And I'm wondering like how supported 3-color will be without these. I don't think that we have that.
I don't know necessarily that the 3-color thing is the issue for me as much as like when you play a tap land, the way I kind of try to think about it is a tap land is ideally a turn 1 play. So if you're playing aggro, you obviously don't want them because you want to have a guy turn 1. Which is where the fast lands come in. Then you're like, oh, 4 concealed courtyards, 4 inspiring advantages. We're doing mobilize, you know. Then if you're playing like a ramp deck and you really, really want your teamer colors, like I don't see the problem with Frontier Bivouac as like a 1 or 2 of, instead of maybe a couple of surveil lands because you really, really need to hit those color sources. On the other hand, it really kind of like I think depends on how many lands you're playing. So I think like for example, Frontier Bivouac is going to be 10 times more playable than I think it's called Nomad Outpost, this Mardo. Mardu. Nomad Outpost, unless you're playing Dragons, probably not going to get played. If you're playing Mobilize, you're doing Conceal Courtyard, you're doing Inspiring Advantage. If you're playing a tap land, it's surveilling, and it's going to be because you have Verges.
Yeah, I just wondered if, like, right, my thought was the only time we can do ramp stuff and, like, 4-color stuff is if we're doing Hauntwoods. But I don't think every deck wants Hauntwoods.
Right. Hauntwoods is going to be specifically, I think, the Teamer or Domain that are doing it, unless they're like a Beans deck of some kind, like a green-black X. But you're right. I don't think every deck wants Hauntwoods, and I also think that it really depends on like how many of the untapped or makes mana if X, Y, and Z you're playing.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing certain numbers of the new lands, right, the new cycle, and you want them to work, then you also want them to come in untapped. And if you're playing X number of Verges, then you want to have land types, which makes the Surveil lands better. And keep in mind, the Surveil lands, even though they only make 2 colors, are some of the strongest lands we've ever seen of all time. I mean, they get played in Legacy. They're probably top 3, top 4 lands in terms of strength, the Surveil lands. Fetchable and Surveil is a very strong mechanic. So you're going to kind of like want some of that naturally in a lot of your decks anyway. If you're playing Sultai or Teamer, you have incentive to put cards in your graveyard with Renew and with Harmonize. So yeah, I think even though I think that the 3-color lands are playable, I'm picturing them more as like a 25th land or something like that. Like you might play 1 Nomad Outpost in your Mardu Dragons. You might play 1 Frontier Bivouac in your Super Ramp. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that. Ramp Teamer deck. And if you're playing like a 4 or 5 color pile, then yeah, I think they become even more playable. Where like, oh, it makes a lot of sense to play a couple Frontier Bivouacs if you're playing 4 or 5 color domains still, and you absolutely need to hit the green and you absolutely need to hit the red. So you have your removal and your ramp. But yeah, it really also depends on how many pips, because Tarkir specifically is very lenient on the pips, but some of the other cards in standard that we have currently are not. So that's another thing that I think will affect it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I think once I'm actually deck building, because I'm like I find myself to be a player that's really good at mana bases, just because I used to just do my own decks all the time.
Oh, that's the worst part for me.
I'm
good at crafting decks. I'm so bad at mana bases. I just copy someone else's.
I used to just always like I would use the tapped out thing and like really be checking my lands and make sure that it's like perfect. I've been a lot lazier recently because I'm just like, oh, take this guy's deck list. Are the lands good? Anything I hate? Like the only, like for example, if I'm building blue eye control, does this guy have Seachrome Coast in his deck? All right, we're good. If he does.
Which is so funny that he says that, because the Sean Gallagher, the guy that top 8'd the Energy, the only blue eye control player for Seachrome Coast.
Yeah. And it's so funny. He's like, I'm going to play it. I'm sure he has his reasons. But every time I see it, I'm like, you haven't drawn that on turn 4. Which I'm sure he has. Sean Gallagher is a great player. And also, if you want to know some drama, like, damn, did you hear about that?
Yes,
a little bit of drama.
I loved Energy's post.
Oh, yeah. It was
like
such a good response.
2 players that have integrity. I was like,
damn. Integrity.
Yeah, I was like, jeez Louise.
Yeah, I know, but like Sean.
So all of you who are scumbags, like,
yeah, if you are a would-be fucking cheater, kill yourself.
Yeah, it was wild.
No, that's crazy. In Minecraft, no, that's wild. Yeah, for those who don't know, one of our local Nerd Rage guys, he got cheated in the last top eight of the Energy event, and it was sad because he was playing Blue Eye Control, doing it for the boys, the intellectuals. Just, it's unfortunate. It really is.
Well,
hopefully,
he got
WotC will fix their
He got
program.
cheated against, right?
Yeah, against.
Yes.
But because of that, he left, and his opponent got TQ'd as he left. He would have been in top 4.
Oh, I
so
didn't realize
the top
that.
4 opponent gets a bye.
Wow.
Yeah,
Stupid.
and because of integrity, they can't just pass the points down, alter the payout, because it's a WPN, like it's an official. Nerd Rage has partnerships with WotC that makes it official. Like qualifying for these events can get you into the Pro Tour.
Right.
They have to follow specific guidelines.
Right.
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
But the cheater's banned, so that's cool. You won't have to see his ugly face at any of the Nerd Reach events again.
Yeah.
Did you get through all your lands or
That's
your
it.
cards?
That's all my stuff.
So you talked about Surrock already. I can't stop yapping about Pixie, and I was a Pixie hater. Remember when I was a Pixie hater? Now I'm a Pixie lover or something. I don't know. I'm simping for Pixie.
Right after I stopped. Playing
Right after Frank sold the deck, I was like, good, get rid of it.
I didn't
for me,
sell the deck.
I don't know.
I stopped playing it because I just got so tired of doing it because it feels like Delver. You know, you've played Delver where like when you're on, you're like,
Nobody can beat me.
I am a king.
Yeah.
And when you're off, you're like, what does this deck even do?
Yeah, you play against Death and Taxes 4 rounds in a row, and you're just like, sure, man. Oh yeah, Spirit Labyrinth. Okay, buddy.
Yeah, that's kind of how Delver feels sometimes. We're like, I lost to this dude at the last one, and like our game 3, like despite the fact that I temporary locked down and like did a few things, he just was like, nope, I just keep having it, and I was like, okay.
That's how it goes. Okay, so I have a couple cards I want to talk about. We covered most of the stuff, and honestly, I could go on all day, but I don't want to because Frank's segment's coming up, and we're gonna probably spend an hour on it. So, the first card I want to talk about is Rock Curse Rakshasa. It should be towards the top of the.
Oh, it's the
2-mana demon. If there were ever a reason for Unholy Annex to be playable again, for sure this guy helps. Especially because you don't really want to attack with him if you're playing Unholy Annex. I just think this guy is kind of cracked. Especially like let's say you play Kaito and Annex, which I haven't seen people doing together, but I think you could reasonably try to do.
Oh my gosh,
this guy
would be so dumb because you would do it after damage.
Yes, exactly. So Rock Curse Rakshasa is a 2-mana 5/5, black and 1 demon. Demon matters for Unholy Annex, obviously, for those that know. It's instead of just draw and lose 2, it's draw, gain 2, your opponent loses 2 on end step, assuming you have a demon in play.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah. Say it. No, I'm just kidding. And it has trample, so it's actually just a crazy attacker. This is one of those cards that to me like scream like Mardu's gonna go crazy. Pixie is just already going crazy. Pixie really likes this guy because they can get in for really good damage, which they typically struggle with. All their guys are doing 1s and 2s. This guy's finally hitting you for like 5, really, really hard chunking you. And then you flash in your guy and you bounce him and you're feeling good. Or your Kaito after damage is dealt, then Kaito comes in and Kaito doesn't need to have dealt damage to just ninjutsu.
Does the decay trigger go on the stack?
Yeah, you can respond.
Got it. So it says sacrifice creature on the stack, and then you go this town?
Exactly.
Oh,
That's
man.
another card I was going to bring up. I'm like, why is this guy... People are not talking about this town, they're just talking about Kaito. This guy's going to hit you for 5, and you're like, bounce this guy, and I'm getting him back. And so that's another reason why I think Annex is going to get, like, some play, you know? If they want to. But it's definitely just a good card. I put in the notes, it's like a trap that feels like a trap, but it's a trap to think it's a trap. I think that people are sleeping on how good the card is. Trap. Yeah. Trap is not gay, so it's official. This card is good. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it. This card is good. The other card I want to talk about is so there's like a cycle of cards that are crazy in every color, and they're not all uniform. So I just call them like the mythic clan spells. There's the one we talked about already, which is Temur Landfalls. That one's correct. And I actually miswrote my notes, but it is what it is. It's fine. I do like the Temur card, but I was trying to save it for limited talk, and I didn't put it in here. Parination, though, the Abzan one, I think is kind of insane. Parination is, I think, 6 mana. So it's Abzan 3, and it says sorcery, return target permanent, which is a really cool reanimate effect, from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it comes in with a hexproof and a finality counter. Indestructible. Hexproof and indestructible counter, not a finality counter. So it's a really good reanimate. And I'm just picturing the kind of creatures you could put this on, which is like in standard right now. The big demon from whatever just came out, Duskmourn. The 8-mana, 9-mana demon with like ward, sacrifice 3 permanents or whatever.
Oh, Valgavoth.
Valgavoth, yes, I'm sorry. I don't know why I was... Valgavoth,
Valgavoth.
Valgavoth, indestructible, hexproof. Any planeswalker indestructible hexproof, like the new Elspeth. Now you can't target them anymore. The Atrexa, like Atrexa, 7/7 indestructible, lifelink flying. Now Glissa can't kill her, you know, like anything that has lifelink, especially giant creature, indestructible and untargetable, so no more exile effects. It's like must be Sunfall's creature is crazy to me. I think that if there's something going on with like 4-color ramp, that's kind of a card I'd be looking out for. And then All Out Assault. I've been simping for the Marty the whole time. I think they got the coolest of the big spells, and it's big because it's 5 mana for them. But can you read it for me? Because I actually can't read it from there.
Yeah. All Out Assault, 2 Mardu colors. Enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. When this enchantment enters, if it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase, followed by an additional main phase. When you next attack this turn, untap each creature you control.
Yeah, so the fact that you're giving all you guys the buff and the Death Touch, I think really matters because Death Touch and Trample goes really hard. But we already talked about the Martyr guys just wanting to like play Mobilize, go all out. If they need a big top end card, this card seems fine to me. But even in limited, I think a card like this can be kind of crazy. All of these are really cool in a way that like I would definitely want to cast each of these. But the Sultai one and the Jeskai one just seem very commandery to me. Like I can't see myself building Jeskai control and being like, oh yeah, I gotta slot in Jeskai Revelation. I'm gonna counter somebody's spell and then cast what's that Strixhaven card that has like 17 modes and then you can discard it for a treasure.
Magma Opus.
Magma Opus, yeah. Like Jeskai Revelation is just like Magma Opus plus, almost like a Sublime Epiphany compared to Cryptic Command. So it's like, I don't know, do you play that in Standard? Probably not. If you can resolve it in Limited though, you're probably feeling fucking great.
Like a king.
And then Death Upon, or what's it called? Death Preys Upon All or whatever?
Death Begets Life.
Death Begets Life. Oh, Sultai is so freaking cool.
This is 5 and Sultai colors. Destroy all creatures and enchantments. Draw a card for each permanent destroyed this way.
So like,
oops.
It's a commander
Sorry,
card,
Domain.
but it's so cool. Actually, if you're playing Domain Ramp and you have the Black Splash, insane.
I just mean like if you're playing against Domain and you just wreck the whole board because
Right, sideboard for
even the stuff that's on it's not time counters. What is it? Where it ticks down and ends?
Oh, you're talking about the Overlords.
Yes.
With Impending.
Impending. Yeah, even the stuff that's impended gets nixed.
Yeah, this card
we haven't seen yet, which is great.
I don't think it's going to be a standard playable card unless it's a cyber card, but it kind of reminds me of what In Garrick's Wake was for the old standard, where like you'd play that mirror match of hell, and it's like whoever played In Garrick's Wake was the one that actually won. This is that for like the Domain mirrors that we're about to get inevitably, or like the 5-color Dragon mirrors or whatever you want to call the deck after this set comes out. But yeah, Paranation seems sweet to me. And then obviously I think the best one is the Teamer one because it's just the most usable and the most just freaking crazy.
Are you kidding? I think I simp for this Jeskai Revelation.
You like it?
I want to play it in a control shell so badly.
I'm not doing that. Don't
Return
do that.
target spell to its owner's hand. Deals 4 damage to anything.
Yeah.
Create 2 dudes with prowess.
Yeah.
Draw 2 cards. Gain 4 life.
Yeah.
And you could return a spell or a permanent.
Yeah.
So you could hit
That's what
something
I said. It's a counter spell and then get a bunch of nothing and draw a card. Like, don't get me wrong. In control, game 4 life is decent, but there's other ways to do it. Getting 2 1/1s with prowess. Okay, but I'm probably about to field nuke, or I have an alternate win con like a Jace. And then bouncing the spell or the creature, cool, but I didn't kill it. It's gonna come back. I don't know.
I just think that if there is a creature on board and you return that, and then you 4 damage shoot another creature, then make 2 dudes draw cards and gain life. I think that's a big swing.
What if I Sunfall the guys instead?
Like it's Sunfall the guys and you counter the spell?
Or like I held up a counter spell, yeah. I don't know. I think the card is fun. I definitely want to cast it. I'm just not convinced it's playable.
Yeah, I don't know if it's playable. I want to do it. I don't know if it's playable.
I definitely want to do it. I mean, Magma Opus was a lot of fun, but that just ended up being easier in 2 colors, I suppose. Also,
Yeah, it just does more. It does bigger things than Magma Opus.
oh yeah, way
Because
bigger.
Magma Opus was like make a 4/4, deal 4 damage divided, but it couldn't be to any target. And then like draw 2, discard.
Yeah, yeah. I like the part where you can discard it for a treasure.
Yes,
That's what was cool
that
to me.
part was great.
But yeah, I don't know. These are cool cards, but definitely leaving you're building for. They better win you the game.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I really wrote down about. There's so many other cards that we could talk about, but I've also been kind of focusing on modern as well. So for those that don't know, if you're watching this, we might have already recorded or be recording the second episode this week. We're getting you guys a double header
Because we've been kind of skipping the last few weeks, but it's mainly been around like one time was our schedule, and this time is around trying to make more content,
Yes.
like content that you want.
The
Not-
BNR is tomorrow, as of our current recording. It's
Yeah.
like in 10 hours, and we're about to find out that I was right about this, right, Shaman? So it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
Give me
With that being
DRS, give me
said,
DRS. I already have 3.
it's time entering Glizzy Overdrive. I'm just kidding. Pre-release prep.
We need to find out who did this.
It's gonna be Frank's time to shine. He's gonna hit you with his talks for pre-release and how to be prepared for the Boar Hat Gaming pre-release, because you're gonna be here, right?
Absolutely. So the first thing is first is that right. I know that we kind of talked about how we're gonna trim things down, but basically I have like 3 major takeaways, and I'm gonna spend a little bit of time talking about each of those major takeaways, not going over each individual cards. If you do want to go over individual cards and stuff, please hit me up. So first things first.
We can get up on Discord.
I think that this set is mainly a set where you need to be a smart drafter. And what I mean by that is that not every card that is good is meant for each archetype. So for
Right.
example, there are cards that are white that are really good for Abzan putting counters,
Yes.
but they're really medium or bad in Mardu Mobilize. And so that's like
And a lot of them help you because they have this weird symbol on them, and if you remember, it's like a clan symbol. It tells you where to put them.
Yeah.
It's actually really nice.
So that's like the biggest first takeaway, which means that when you're drafting, I would probably recommend that you start off in one color and kind of recognize when you're taking that color to try and figure out which lane you're going to go to, what of this one color, what archetype is it good towards?
Right. It kind of even helps to unironically, looking at the archetypes, you can look at the 2-color archetypes, see what each of them does and why they feed into the third one, and that'll just kind of help you build the tree down.
Yeah. Because I think that this is a set that synergy is going to matter most,
Right.
Beyond like crazy bombs, which
Yeah, if you have
is a
crazy
big,
synergy, yes.
big bomb heavy set. Like there are cards that are just great, and then beyond that, I think that the smartest play is that despite the fact that this is set as a 3-color set, and right, we will have the ability to do some cool 5-color stuff, like 5-color dragons will be a deck, it will be good, it will be playable, that is definitely a draft seat. But more often than not, you're probably going to be playing mainly 2 colors and then splashing for another. Because if you just start off being like, oh, well, I drafted the Mardu Dragon, and I took a couple of these red cards, and a couple of these white cards, and a couple of these black cards, your deck's not going to be good.
Right.
Because it's just like you can't, even with like some good fixing, your mana base isn't going to support like you having like 2 drops of 3 different colors.
Yeah, if you pack one big old Martyr Dragon, you're basically you should be thinking, okay, I'm playing Boros. I'm building Boros aggro, like the set design told you. Look for all the good mobilized cards, all the good aggro cards, and then can I afford to splash this black? Were there other good black cards that came in that were insane? Maybe.
I agree with that point, except I actually think that black white's the aggro deck.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'm just saying only because like the note said Boros.
Yeah.
But black white definitely seems. That's why I thought in the note I thought you forgot the black cards. I was like, some of the black cards they're just cracked. Yes.
Yeah,
Black might be the best color though in the set. I don't know. It's hard to say.
oh, You're jumping ahead of me.
Oh, really?
So, with that first takeaway, let's move on to our second takeaway. So, the next thing I'm going to say is that these are my archetype power rankings of what I think are the best tribes.
Clans.
Not surprising, clans. Not surprising. Number 1, Abzan. Number 2, Mardu. Number 3, Teamer. Number 4, Sultai. And number 5, Jeskai.
That makes sense.
And then beyond that, we'll talk about individual colors. I think that best color, number 1, white, green, black, blue, red.
Oh, really?
I think red is the weakest color. I think that white just plays on so many levels. Like all of the commons and uncommons are just crap.
White has a lot of
They
good stuff.
go for the counter stuff is all really good. The mobilize stuff is
So
all really
did
good.
you have blue at 4th or 2nd?
4th.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah,
I think blue's a really awesome support color, but not a good main color.
Yeah. Well, because the reason I say this is like I actually got a chance to look at the set for once, and usually this is your thing. And Jeskai felt like, to your point about the two spell thing, does 2 spells pretty fine, but it doesn't when you add the white. But the white has the good flurry cards that you really want to trigger, and now it's harder because you're playing 3 colors, and so your mana has to be good, and then because you have all these red and blue cards, you're not playing all these great white cards that you should be playing. And Jeskai is going to feel like a deck where instead of playing Azorius tap out, you're just playing Azorius good cards. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, should you end up drafting Jeskai and you feel bad, like just play the good cards. Try not to worry about the flurry too much unless it happens.
I think that for Jeskai, and I do think that Jeskai is going to be a playable deck. It is. I think that the flurry thing isn't real. I think it's bad.
I think people are going to try to force the flurry and then make it suboptimal plays as a result.
Well, okay. To get into this next part a little bit, so I actually broke down how many cards of each color went to each clan. So, Abzan, 1/1 counters specifically, even though there are in black, as he mentioned, you can put death touch counters, lifelink counters, flying counters. They have that too, and that does matter, but I didn't include that in this. There are 7 cards in white for counters. There are 9 cards in black for counters. There are 13, actually I think I updated it. There are 15 cards in green for counters, and there are 8 multicolored cards for counters. And the better ones of the multicolored ones are black and white rather than green. For Mardu, there are 9 cards that are specifically mobilized, and I mean like I also included in that number cards that care like removal spells that care about you having a ton of dudes, because like that's just going to be really good with the mobilized mechanic, even though it's not specifically mobilized.
That's a good point, actually. If you get that Boros spell, that's like
yeah, it's like shoot something based off of how many dudes you have, like The next one is there are 3 cards in black. And then there are 3 additional cards that care about you sacrificing things. And that's going to be really good with Mobilize if you're running a more like grindy version of Mobilize, because you can be like, cool, after damage has happened, before this dude is sacrificed, I'm going to sack it with this other guy to put a counter on because I've got nothing else to do. And now this other guy is a lot bigger.
right.
For red, there are 4 Mobilize cards. Multicolored, there are 10. Going to Jeskai to give you a reference point of flurry of what we were talking about. There are 2 white cards, maybe a third if you really want to stretch it. 3 cards in red that are flurry, 4 in blue, one of which is a draw spell, and then 3 multicolored. Like you just heard 20 plus cards for the other 2 of the 2 best archetypes. This one sucks.
Yeah.
And one of those like cards that's like decent.
Is there maybe one more of the card that doesn't say flurry, but it's like you get the token?
I
Because some of them would say cast 2 spells, but they wouldn't say flurry.
Yes.
Which was so annoying, honestly.
It was one that said like, oh, I think it was it was the Salt Road Pack Beast. It's a camel, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, it says beast, but it's definitely a camel. It's 5 and a white. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature you control. When this creature enters, you draw a card. So, like, it can help you flurry if you're casting it for, like, 2, and then you can cast another spell.
Sure.
That's what I counted as, like,
And
a
replacing
maybe.
itself, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I counted
But a
as.
lot of these things, they don't replace themselves, and then you're supposed to be double spelling while you're not replacing anything.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, "Oh, I'll take a turn off." It's like, don't do that. Just try to win.
Right. And then Teamer is like big dudes and like some cool like spell singing Teamer spells.
Yeah.
It's like I have big dudes and I've got like some good interaction. And then
Yeah, Ace has a lot of good spells. Red and blue have a lot of good spells, and they're just like, "Oh, I'm happy to just fling these at you," and then you get all these huge green dudes or multicolored dudes.
Yeah, and then Sultai is
I think one of the cards
it's
I
like
really liked.
mill and then like doing reanimate things.
There is a
so
lot of
whether it's
mill.
harmonize or like reanimate or delve, whatever the case may be, it's doing graveyard stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like very mid-rangey. Like you've got the removal from black, and then you're like filling your graveyard. You've got a little bit of counter stuff from the green-black. The reason why I think that like I put Sultai and Teamer just below these top 2 decks is because I think that when it comes to Abzan versus these other 2, Abzan has the like all my stuff is getting bigger with counters.
Right.
I don't know if their value is going to be able to outvalue because Abzan stuff is going to come down first and probably outgrow what Teamer could bring. And then for Mardu, I think that Mardu is just going to go faster, like too fast for those decks. And so like you have to like have good removal and have your stuff line up for that to like contend. They're definitely going to be fine to play, but I think that like where you want to be at pre-release and for like what I think the format is going to show draft-wise is that Abzan and Mardu are like king because black-white is awesome.
I'm curious then if we play the two-headed giant, it's like you get the Abzan pack and I'll get the Martyr pack.
Oh, and
or would you both get the same clan and try to get like a sick starter deck? You know, who knows? I wonder if it's like the starter deck's just not good enough if you have 2 of them. Now you have like redundant uncommons.
Yeah.
And you're like, ugh, I wouldn't have wanted 3 of these guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm curious. That would be so interesting. Maybe I'll make the people pick different clans. Like, you must pick 2 different clans.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
'Cause
I'm
then-
excited for Twitter Giant, though.
So the thing I wanted to do then instead of normally I go over, hey, we're gonna talk about every single, like top 3. Instead, I'm just gonna give you like a highlight of 1 card of each color for each clan for 3 of our clans to give you like a preview of like what some of these cards are gonna look like if they're paired with each other. So the first one in Abzan is Fortress Kinguard. 1 and a white, dog soldier. When this creature enters, it endures 1, and it's a 1/2. So you can either, if you're playing in the counters deck, have it be a 2/3 for 2, or if you're doing some sacrificey things in black-white, it can be a 1/2, making a 1/1.
Right.
The one that I have paired with that in black is Sandskitter Outrider. It's 3 and a black, goblin soldier with menace. Shout out Goblin Ringleader. When this creature enters, it endures 2, and it's a 2/1. And so it's a 2/1 with menace that makes a 2/2, or a 4/3 with menace and has counters. Again, can go either way, has modality for both. And then the green one is Trade Route Envoy. 3 and a green, dog soldier. When this creature enters, draw a card if you control a creature with a counter on it. If you don't draw a card this way, put a 1/1 counter on this creature, and it's a 4/3.
Nice. Wait, go back to that second card you were talking about. Okay, it says Martyr on it. That's what I was thinking. And then the dog. Sorry, the first one, the dog.
Oh, they're both dogs.
Also Martyr. Interesting. No, that's absent. Go to the other one. I'm pretty sure that's the absent symbol, right? I'm pretty sure.
I have no idea.
I'm curious because it says they bolster, which probably means, or not, endure. So it must mean they're Abzan cards. But I find that it's really interesting that because black and white are also Mardu colors, these Endure guys are like, it's almost like you want them to be big bodies. Unless you're playing Mardu, where you're like, go wide.
Go wide.
You're really, really rewarded for this.
Yeah.
And sometimes Abaddon's like, well, hold on, we need some blockers.
Right.
Or you just have like some kind of enchantment or other boon that's like, they're all big anyway.
Right.
Because obviously having more big guys is better than having a couple super giant pillars.
Yeah.
Depending on the context. More often than not, it's better to have like 4/4/4s than like 2/6/6s.
Right. Yes.
But when you're playing Martyr specifically, you're like, man, if I have just a ton of these guys going wide, I can really, really abuse this. And that kind of even makes their like clan card even better. All of these Death Touchers, try to block them all. You don't really want to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll definitely block on 6/6 with Death Touch, yeah, whatever.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. I like that. That's why I was noticing the clan symbols, because like you guys should notice that as well. What clan symbol is on the card? It's trying to tell you something. It really is.
Yeah.
Next card, the green one. You read it. It kind of went over my head.
Yeah, so Trade Route Envoy, it's 3 and a green. When this creature enters, draw a card. If you control a creature with a counter on it, when this creature enters, draw a card if you control a creature with a counter on it. If you don't draw a card this way, put a 1/1 counter on this creature.
Yeah, okay. And there's also like the Golgari counters matter stuff.
Yep.
It's so cool. It's really so cool the way you can synergize these. Yeah, great choices. I love the way that it reiterates and reinforces what you're really trying to do.
Yeah. Next, we're going to move on to Mardu. So the 3 cards I picked for Mardu, first one is Starry-Eyed Skyrider. This is 3 and a white, flying. When this creature attacks, another target creature you control gains flying until end of turn. Attacking tokens you control have flying.
Attacking tokens you control is flying is crazy. I
So
did see that card.
You give your mobilized guy flying, and then your tokens that come in also fly.
Well, I think that guy's just so good that he makes you want to make tokens, right? So like every white deck, you're like, yes, we're happy here.
Yeah. Well, mostly, right? Because if you're doing
Well, I suppose not chess
green
guy.
white counters,
Yeah.
you don't care about this because your dudes aren't tokens.
Well, is it? I guess yeah, green white counters. But I thought green white or counters was something like a Golgari thing. Or is it white guys that wanted to?
It's Abzan.
Yeah,
Abzan is counters. So
Right.
like it could be green white or it is white black.
Right.
Yeah.
I just assumed because of the way they separated the archetypes, there would be less white guys that cared about it. But that's a good point.
Yeah,
should be doing the counters. This guy sucks. But if you're not doing counters, this guy's
It's that falling.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. This guy would be like amazing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah.
And he's a 1/3, by the way. 1/3 flyer.
Yeah, 1/3 flyer. That's a good body. Good blocking.
And to like remind you guys, there's 7 white cards that care about counters specifically, and then there are 9 cards that care about mobilize specifically. And then there are a little bit of mixture because there's 8 multicolored cards that care about counters, and there are 8 multicolored cards that care about mobilize.
Right.
Just so like there is a really even split. So
Making the mobilized guys fly is really cool too, because like they're gonna just die usually, but at least they got damage in.
Yeah. The card I paired with it, because I think that this card is crazy in like this Mardu shell. This is probably my favorite for the Mardu stuff. Venerated Storm Singer, 3 and a black, mobilize 1, Orc Cleric. When this creature or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life.
Yeah.
And it's a 3/3. So when you sack all those mobilized dudes, it's like, and he's got mobilized himself.
And you're right, because like Orzhov has like the aggro matters, and then you have this guy in the back end of it. Oh, yeah. This is a great card for sure.
And then the red one I paired with it is Shocking Sharpshooter, 1 in a red, Reach, 1/3. When another creature you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to target opponent.
Yes, the Impact Tremors guy for sure. That's why I was thinking Boros was this guy.
Yeah.
When I saw the Impact Tremors guy, I was like, oh my god, mobilize, go burr.
I think that Boros is not as terrible as like. The problem is that Boros has some of the flurry guys in it. So some of the early guys that you would want for a Boros aggro deck are flurry and suck. So I think that like when you're gonna play aggro, I think that you're white with red as a support,
Right.
rather than being like I don't think you should ever be mainly red at all ever.
Yeah. Red has some crazy cards. There's like this one guy that's like a Goblin guide. It's like 1 mana 2/2 haste, but it comes back to your hand or something like that on end step.
Oh,
I think that guy's so cool.
yes, it
And you
reminds
can
me
buff
of. Yes, he's got fire breathing. It's the fleeting effigy. It's an elemental. 1 red, 2/2 with haste. At the beginning of your end step, return this creature to its owner's hand. This creature gets +2/0 until end of turn if you pay 2 in a red. This guy reminds me of the Ronin, the 2/2 with haste. That was a 1-drop from Neon Dynasty that you could like pay a red and sacrifice him to draw a card.
Oh,
But
yeah,
this
yeah,
feels
yeah.
better than that.
Reinforced.
Reinforced Ronin.
Yeah.
This feels better than that because this has the ability to like fire breathe at the end of the game. To be like, cool.
Yes.
Now that you have stuff to block it with, well, I'm gonna pump him, so you're gonna die or you're gonna trade.
Right. And honestly, for what it's worth, I think he is one of the cards that actually supports double spelling.
Oh, sure.
Like that's gonna matter. He seems sick.
Yeah.
Like even if you have 2 of them.
Yeah, that's a lot of. That's good tempo.
That's not bad. Okay, keep going.
Now I'm moving on to Timo, the last of the clans that I'm like doing this little card breakdown to like give you an idea of synergies. Teamer Devotee, 1 in a blue, defender 3/3. You can pay 1 to add a green, blue, or red. Activate only once each turn. There's actually one of these for every single color pair where you can like
Filter the color.
Yeah, where you can filter the color by clan. I think those cards are not good in most of the archetypes. Like, I don't think Abzan wants it. I don't think Mardu wants it.
Right.
I think you want these cards if you're doing 5-color stuff.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
That's when I think that you play this
Yeah,
stuff.
But
But
3/3 defender is a pretty good body. Too.
yeah, but I think that this is good for like the teamer. I'm trying to play big dudes.
Yeah. Are they all like that, where it's 1 colon?
One in a color.
Well, 1/colon, like 1 and then colon, not
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I really like that. I like that they're not punishing you for playing the card. Like you should be able to still block with it, and then also you're filtering. You're not like losing a mana. Kind of like pay a mana to get a mana tap. Is like you're paying 2 mana effectively.
Sure.
Which I always hated lands like that.
Yeah.
Transco, Promenade kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, can I just pay for it once and get it or something? Filtering the land like that, it's so much better. You get to keep the blocker, and you're going to need blockers if you're playing 5-color because you're probably mostly doing setup in the first turns.
Right.
Next card.
Card I paired that with is Runescale Stormbrood. We talked about this earlier. This is the Omen dragon that counters a spell that's 2 or less.
Right.
And then it's flying whenever you cast a non-creature spell or a dragon spell. This creature gets a +2/0 until end of turn. It's a 2/4 for 4. And then I paired that with. I actually did 4 cards for this one. I cheated.
Would you play that with the double prowess, right? He has prowess 2. Would you play this dragon in a not blue deck?
Not blue deck. I think that you could. I think that you'd play this if you're. I mean, I think you're obviously playing this if you're doing 5-color dragons.
Sure.
I do also think that you're playing this if you're doing like. I think that there's a realm of reality where you're playing big dragons in Mardu. Like you just get a couple of them and you're playing like.
Oh, because
a
you can
mid-range
also
plan.
trigger it with dragons.
Yeah,
right?
you're playing like a mid-range plan.
Yeah.
So I think that you're like, cool. I play some aggro dudes. Oh, they've gummed up the board. Well, now I've got big dragon, big dragon, big dragon.
Right.
Die.
Yeah, I kind of like the play pattern because it's +2, not just like regular prowess. To go into your point, like the card seems. Oh my god, what am I doing? I'm so sorry, guys. If you can hear that,
He's throwing things.
I'm just. Throwing
He's so
shit,
excited
apparently.
about TDM.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion on that because it seems like a card that is just like good as a body to beat ass, but then you get this like pretty decent like counterspell synergy, and for what it's worth, that counterspell actually seems playable in limited, unlike most.
Right.
Most counterspells are typically really bad in limited, but that one like 2 mana, counter 2, like whatever.
Well, and the fact that you can have the modality of like, oh, I don't need the counterspell, I've got a body, or like I can use the counterspell now, get the body later, all very good.
Yeah, not a dead card in your hand, absolutely.
Yeah, I paired that with the Sagu Wildling. 4 and this is another Omen Dragon, 4 and a green.
This is what I was talking
3/3
about.
with flying. When this creature enters, you gain 3 life, and you can search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle.
Oh no, never mind. I was thinking of something else. There was one that's like 3 mana, search for 2 forests.
Oh yes,
like
that's the rare one.
Dude, that's 3 mana explosive vegetation is crazy. That's crazy to me. But yeah, no, that one's good. Where you're basically lay the land. For those that don't know, is like 1 green, search for any basic. That's basically what you're getting there. And hey, you know what? It got banned in Kaladesh. It was so good because it made 2 energy. But no, I like that. Like a bushwhack.
Yeah.
Like bushwhack body. Cool. Totally fine. Search for my land.
And the fourth card I paired with this is I think like going to be one of the main staples of this deck. That's going to like pull you into this is the Mammoth Bellow. This is 2 teamer colors, create a 5/5 elephant creature token, and then you can harmonize to do it. Harmonize for 8 to do it again.
It's pretty good.
So it's 5 mana, make a 5/5, harmonize, make another.
10 power on a single card is also not bad. I think also the card you're pairing it with, that defender guy, taps really well into the harmonize for it later. Where like I really just want to get another guy. 5/5s are usually pretty good at breaking up a gummed up board. Also 5 seems like the biggest card we've seen so far, which means like who's getting through that?
Right.
Maybe even the absent guys are struggling.
Yeah, surprise again. Green stuff's really good. I mean, we'll get to it when I talk about the last thing we're going to talk about for today is just rares, because we never talk about rares in the podcast for sealed. But
We hated rares, but now we love them.
well, okay.
Kinda.
I still think that like when we talk about rares, you're not going to get them as often.
Right.
Like it's not like, oh, you can plan for this. But to Stan's point as to why we're talking about it now is that with in the era of play boosters, you're seeing more rares than we saw previously. And
Yeah,
so like it's
it's
more
crazy.
consistent than it was before, but it's still not something you can plan on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like you might not see the same rare in a couple drafts, but then you'll get drafts with the same rare 3 times, which is like you would have never seen that before play boosters. So
No.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's a good change. It just sucks that sometimes that the comment slot eats the pain for that, which because like the comment slot's the one that gets nipped if you get an extra rare, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But I mean, it just makes the uncommons that much more relevant.
Yeah. Rare time? Or
Oh, we're done with all your clan stuff?
clan stuff?
Cool.
Stop?
All right, awesome. Yeah, let's do rares.
Okay, so first thing on rares, Elspeth Stormslayer. You already talked about this, but this is the new Elspeth Planeswalker, 3 white.
So are these cards that you're saying are like pack one, pick one?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So Elspeth Stormslayer, if 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of these tokens are created instead. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for +1. Its 0 is put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain flying on your next turn. Gain flying until your next turn.
Oh, until your next turn. Holy, the flying blockers. God damn.
And then its -3 is destroy target creature or an opponent controls with mana value 3 or greater, and
Yep.
she starts at 5. What I think people, right? I think that people think this Elspeth is cool. This Elspeth is cool, and it's for sure a commander card. But for the limited community, right? This works in Mardu because it's making you 1 trillion tokens, but because its 0 is counters for everything,
Yeah.
it also matters for Abzan.
Yeah.
It-
Well, Absent
it's-
also makes guys too if they want to.
Right. It's good
crazy.
in both shells equally because of its 1 and its 0, and sometimes you gotta remove a thing. This
Yeah.
card's just dumb.
Yeah, it's definitely a ridiculous card. I feel like it's almost better for Absent because you like always make the token, get the counters after. Now everybody's countered up. It's just going crazy. Everybody's modified or whatever they call it. Yeah, she's pretty nutty. Definitely pack one, pick one, and you get $50 on top of it. So that's pretty cool.
True. Next is the Voice of Victory. We talked about this
He's
card
like
already.
20.
Yeah. 1 white, mobilize 2. Your opponent can't cast spells during your turn, and it's a 1/3. This thing just blocks really well into your opponents. They can't interact with you, and like it makes 2 dudes every time you swing.
All the 1/3s for low mana, you gotta keep an eye on too, because like there's a ton of just 1/1s flying everywhere. So those all start adding up, and if you can block even just a little bit of that, that matters. Obviously, we've already talked about the implication of the card. It's just a crazy card. It will get played in standard.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, Elspeth too, but
This next one is in blue. I only had 1 for blue. It's the Meringue River Regent.
you don't like this guy?
No.
You can talk about Meringue, but I think Tygon is crazy.
I guess because he's 2 mana. Oh, I guess it's because he's 2 mana. I didn't look at his mana cost. But Meringue River Regent, 4 blue for a 6/7 dragon with flying. When this creature enters, return up to 2 other target non-land permanents to their owner's hand. And it has an omen cost of 4 and a blue, draw 3 cards, then discard a card.
Right.
At instant speed.
I think that card is cool. And in addition to it being like a great card for limited, that draw power is really nice. I think if there is like a Jeskai Dragons or a 5-color Dragons deck, this will be one of the ones that helps make that happen.
Or I think the other thing that's really cool about this, specifically, like not just in limited, but for constructed as well, is that one of the problems with like cards like 3 steps ahead is like you do care about having the counter magic,
right?
And you also care about it because sometimes you just need to like filter some cards.
Yeah.
This can be helpful as like I'm using this as a draw spell and have a threat later.
Right.
And I think that we haven't seen something like that in a while, where it's like draw and threat. That's really
the best thing. The closest example is that Flash guy you guys play in the Dimir deck. Enduring Curiosity.
Yeah.
Threat, draw card. I mean, he's very good.
Crazy.
So, similar.
Yeah.
I still don't like big bounce S removal, but I suppose there's going to be some bigger creatures coming down. So, like if you're bouncing like a 4 or 5 mana dragon, you're not feeling too bad.
Well, you also can. You can target one of your own things.
Yeah, you can bounce your own stuff too. That's a good point.
So
they probably pair really nicely together.
Yeah, so you could be like bounce your thing and my thing.
Yeah. If you have 2 of the dragons, then you're just like looping them.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
You want to talk about Taigam?
I think we should talk about Taigam. I think he's crazy. I don't know if he's like a pack one pick for draft.
Yeah, I think he's bad for draft.
But
that's probably
such
why
a
I didn't
good
talk
card.
about him. Yeah. So Taigam, Master Opportunist, 1 and a blue, Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy it, then exile the spell you cast with 4 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend, and he's a 2/2.
Yeah.
only
How
thing
much
that-
suspend? I thought it was suspend 4.
4.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah, 4
2
times.
mana 2/2, just okay, not bad. But that copying of your spells and just like the incidental value, I think you could build a deck with this guy that's just actually nutty, just going crazy because you're always still getting that spell.
Yeah. I think it's again. I think that's a good constructed card. I think it's gonna be really bad in limited.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like we were talking about, but double spelling, it's gonna make people do like dumb stuff that's not necessarily very good. You might get lucky and fumble into like the most insane double spell, but I wouldn't say that's the norm. I'd say like that's the exception that makes the rule.
Right.
Next card is what? Scavenger Regent.
Yeah, we talked
So
about
we're getting
this
into
guy.
the black.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is the Scavenger Regent. That's the dragon.
Yeah, he's really good.
The dragon that does the board wipe has flying and ward. Talked about him.
Yeah.
He's crazy. The other one we talked about too is the Sinkhole Surveyor. 1 in a black, flying. Whenever this creature attacks you, lose 1 life, and this creature endures 1. I just think that this blocks almost everything and then swings better into almost everything.
Right.
Like the thing grows every turn.
It always wins.
You swing 2 turns and now it's a 3/5, and you're like, how do I deal with that on turn 4? A 3/5 flyer?
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. Plus, again, if you're doing sacrifice things, you could also just make bodies with it and then be like.
Exactly. It's a
Or
lot.
if you're doing Mardu things, you could be like, cool, make a token, make a token, make a token.
Yeah. Maybe this is one of the cards that finally makes Orzhov playable. Every step we're like, oh, Orzhov, please.
Yeah.
I mean, making a lot of these guys that like mobilize or make the guy, or not mobilize, endure and make the bodies that stick around, and honestly, even some of the mobilized ones, if you can like play Voice of Plenty in the Orzhov Aristocrats deck, now they can't counter your 4 mana Revive My Graveyard card. So like there might be some like actual Orzhov synergies for constructed there that are like pretty strong.
Yeah.
Finally, with enough 2 mana broken Orzhov cards, we can make an actual Orzhov deck. But yeah, I think because Raise the Past is already kind of like a playable deck.
Right.
And I think it's always getting like 1 or 2 cards that are like, ooh, tier one, finally, can we play this? Zahar? Is it the one? Is it the Bat God? Is it this guy?
Is it the one?
Is it Amalia? I'll play her in Pioneer and Accident, my bad. And then you're just like, no, this 2 mana guy, maybe he's finally the truth, you know?
Truth, yeah.
Who knows? But it's also good in Esper Pixie, so.
Right.
The next one we're getting into is Stormscale Scion.
Yeah, so I think that this card,
Only red card, interesting.
yeah, only red card. Flying, other dragons you control get +1/+1, and it has Storm. So you could just storm it.
Oh yeah, the Storm Dragon. The
Yeah,
card-
I think if you
card
like,
is cracked.
I think if you ever cast 2 spells and then cast this guy, you're like, cool.
Dude, if you cast one spell, you're like 2 5/5 fires.
Yeah, you're dead.
That's why I don't like. That's why I don't dislike Mox Jasper.
Oh,
People
sure.
are like, this card's bad. I'm like, dude, it is literally a 5/5 dragon. What do you mean? But yeah, Mox Jasper, don't draft that.
Please don't.
Okay, draft it for the money.
Draft it for the money if you
and
want.
don't play it.
Don't play
unless you're literally playing 5-color dragons. In which case, that actually might work.
Yeah.
Only 5-color dragons.
Right.
That actually kind of makes sense for the limited because like they have like a voice of all, don't they? Or not voice of all. They have like a. Don't they have? Isn't there like a 5-mana dragon enchantment?
Yeah.
There was like a 5-mana enchantment. It's like dragon something.
Oh, you mean the 5-color one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5-color dragon something. I don't know if it's
Call of the Spirit
Would you
Dragons?
draft this?
Would I draft Call
You
of the Spirit
pack
Dragons?
one pick when you see that. No other rare. Nothing that excites you. You're playing this?
Yeah, because 5-color dragons will be a real deck. I just have to like play control and then be like, cool. When I get
Dragons are indestructible? Okay, that's kind of correct.
at the beginning of your upkeep for each color, put a 1/1 counter on a dragon you control of that color. If you put 2 1/1 counters on 5 dragons this way, you win the game.
Okay, I didn't see. I didn't think about how easy that was.
Yeah, it's
That's
like,
gonna get banned in Commander, bro. Coalition Victory or whatever. Nope, can't have that. That's a game. That's a game changer.
that's a game. That's
That's
a game changer.
I called them playmakers the other day, and then Dom was like, game changers. I was like, fuck.
I sound like an idiot.
Damn it. You got my ass.
Green. This card makes me upset. This one, they always make something like this. I'm getting really tired of it.
Craner or Behemoth. No, just kidding.
No, I don't think. I saw Greater Behemoth, and I was like, meh.
Eh.
Meh. In 2025,
It'd have to be the sickest ramp deck.
Yeah. So, Warden of the Grove, 3 and a green. At the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. It's
Oh.
a 2/2.
Yeah.
When another non-token creature you control enters, it endures X, where X is the number of counters on this creature.
Yeah. It's also
What?
like barely a Hydra. It like gets 1/1 counters. Hydra, I guess.
Yeah.
Why isn't it a 0/0?
But can you
Yeah,
like
no. Literally, when I read this card, I was in the restaurant and I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And Winter and her mom were like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh, dude, nothing, just nothing. You wouldn't get it."
not again. Yeah, because this card like
You're
two,
laughing?
two turns later is like it's a 4/4 and now I play stuff and they also get 2 counters and like everything you play gets 2 counters.
Yes.
It's like it doesn't even matter for Hydras anymore. Everything can have counters from this Hydra.
Yeah, and he's also pretty nice with the Surrock, where it's like, "Oh, let's kill this Hydra." Replaced. Literally, it's like actually the Hydra.
It feels like a mix of, Hercules where he's cutting and then the more heads come out. And then, that Austin Powers meme where it's like, why won't you die?
True.
Yeah.
Surrock, Elusive Hunter, we talked about as well.
Yeah.
And they kind of pair together really nicely. You know what you don't need if you have both of those guys? Other colors.
You know what you don't need? Other cards. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna make this a little short and sweet. 5 of my next cards are the big dragons.
Yes.
All of the big dragons
They're
are
all
pretty
crazy.
much like crazy to play.
I think the funniest one is Shiko's probably the worst one in limited because it's just like a goblin, whatever the card. Remember Ultimate Gatewatch had like the 5-mana goblins card that would cast a spell out of the graveyard?
Oh, yeah.
And forever that card was like, they were like, wow, this card's and then like eventually it just like disappeared. It was like, yeah, 5 mana, man, like 5 mana is a lot. Shiko kind of feels like that to me where it's like, wait, this is pretty good. You give it a much better body. It's got vigilance, 3 colors. It's kind of a lot. But it's a dragon,
But it's a dragon, and you can cast something for free.
Yeah, but that's what the Goblin Marauding Party or whatever the fuck it was called did, and eventually that became like unplayable. And so like I'm not convinced that Chico's like the hot tits that everybody thinks it is.
Well, I think Chico is specifically for limited.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Limited.
I think in constructed it could get played, but
Yeah.
I just don't think it's like as hot as other people think. And then in limited compared to the other ones, even Abzan because you're bolstering the fuck out of or
Well,
enduring.
I think the Abzan one's fine just because it's like if you have 10 power, you draw a card, and it's 7.
Exactly.
It's 5 power.
It doesn't
or
need to
it's
do
toughness.
all the extra stuff. It just draws the cards.
It's toughness. It's got 7 on its own.
Yes.
If you have one other creature.
So the thing I like about Shiko is that she works with omens.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
So that's the thing that gives her power to me is the omens part.
Sure.
However, I almost don't even think that's good enough. Like I see people talking about Shiko and going like, "That's crazy. She's so good." And the more I look at it, because I initially was like, "Man, she seems pretty good." The more I'm looking at it and comparing her to like I can't remember the name of the card, but it's like Oath of Gatewatch, 5-mana goblins. The more I'm comparing it, better body, restrictive on the mana kind of sucks. The spells you're casting her with really matter because like if you do her with that blue guy you like, the blue guy where it's like bounce 2 things, she can flash him back out of the graveyard with the omen, and then you're drawing 3 cards. That's really good.
That's great.
That's almost worth building around in standard maybe, but I think you still exile it, and so you don't get to shuffle it back into your deck.
Yeah, sure.
So that kind of sucks. And then so like she really depends on what you're pairing it with. But the other dragons, like you said, just phenomenal. All of them are good. If you see one of the dragons, you're probably just happy because like you can. I would almost posture like if you see a dragon in your colors, they are so good. Just play those colors.
Yeah. The next 2 things we won't talk about because we already did. Death Begets Life. We talked about it before. Destroy all things. Draw cards. Dragonback Assault. That's the one that does 3 damage to everything, and then landfall. Make 4/4 dragons with flying.
What color are they? Red.
So Death Begets Life.
No, the Dragonbacks. They're red dragons.
Oh yes, they are red dragons.
I only asked because of the 5-mana dragon enchantment. So that's your red card. You got to get all the other colors yourself.
The next one is Roar of the Endless Song. This is 2 and Temur colors, and it's a saga. It's chapters 1 and 2 is make a 5/5 elephant. It's chapter 3 is double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn.
See, I'm telling you, man.
Step out of the way, creative behemoth.
Yeah, literally. Move aside, buddy.
Yeah. 5 mana, make 2 dudes, and everything doubles. Cool.
It's
cool,
the
cool, cool.
Toy Story. No, sorry, not Toy Story. Have you ever played Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Okay, me neither, but I know about the memes.
Okay.
There's like a meme where it's like Woody pushing back like some other character.
Oh.
And it's like, wait, let him cook.
Let him cook.
Like, sorry, Critter, you've been replaced.
Yeah.
What's the next one? Hollow Merc Siege?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up.
This card's
okay, that's 2 mana. I didn't see this one. I was going to ask you about the sieges because we never talked about them.
Oh.
This one is 2 mana, so I can already see that it's broken.
This is so dumb. As this enchantment enters, it's green and black. As this enchantment enters, choose Sultai or Abzan.
Yeah.
Sultai. Whenever a counter is put on a creature you control, draw a card.
Yes.
This ability only triggers once each turn. Obviously, the Golgari decks love this.
Yes. And your
and
renewing is going to go crazy.
The Abzan decks really want this too because, right, you're putting counters on that as well. You even can probably play this in Sultai because black has like the Death Touch counter stuff. But like,
there's a lot of renew guys in all the Sultai colors, I'm pretty sure. That you summon out of the graveyard.
Yes.
And they almost all are like
they
counters.
almost all do counters, yes. But I think that like because
it's funny that you name Sultai and Abzan goes like, oh.
Right, because Abzan does go, whoa!
What's the Abzan side?
The Abzan side is whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature, it gains menace until.
Okay, see, that's also crazy, because, like, you're right, this is definitely an Abzan card, but Sultai still benefits in a lot of big ways, especially the drawing, but the attack part, you're happy in both decks. Like, you need to get you're going to need a guy, even if you go wide, you're going to need one guy that's, like, beating ass.
Yeah.
You can just see from how big all these guys are. You get, like, 5/5 whatever. No, sorry, that's Temur. I'm trying to think of, like, if you have, like, a flying 3/4, or, like, one of your 4/3 with menace because you endured him, you really need that guy to keep growing and growing, or else you're going to have problems. And if they kill him, you cry, and you build up the next guy.
Yeah, I feel like if you're playing an Abzan deck and you don't have a lot of cards in hand that give you counters, you go, cool, this is going to be the thing that gives me enough counters. If you have a handful of counter stuff, you're like, great, I'm just gonna pick Sultai and then draw a million cards and just outvalue you like that. It's so good. It's dumb.
So while we're on this card, how do you feel about the other sieges?
I know that I don't have them listed, but
Yeah.
I know that I think this black-white one is correct. At the Baron Step Siege, 2 white-black. As this enchantment enters, choose Abzan or Mardu. Abzan, at the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. All right. Mardu, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice. So your tokens sacrifice at the end of combat, and then you're like, all right, wipe your board.
Yep.
Like,
yes.
what?
Yes.
Like, that is so
I
dumb.
want to play Mardu so bad.
I want to play Abzan so bad.
True.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's gonna be nice when we two-headed giant. Can I have all your black white cards? No. Let me get all your black white cards.
Yeah, no. I want this.
Here,
We've
you
had
can
that
have my green.
We've had that the last 2 times we've played where we're like, we both want this deck.
True. It's so funny. Okay, so your next card was Zergo Thunder's Decree, it looks like. Which I agree. Zergo is freaking crazy. He's right here.
Yeah, okay, Zergo Thunder's Decree is Mardu colors. Mobilize 2/4. During your end step, warrior tokens you control have this token can't be
sacrificed, yes. When I saw that card, I was laughing so hard because one of my buddies plays Ishin of 2 Heavens and Commander from Kamigawa.
Yeah.
And he says double your attack triggers in Mardu, which attack triggers are already so crazy. But like,
Right.
dude, keeping all the warriors with Zergo is a pack one, pick one for sure.
Yeah,
That we talked about the whole time. We're like, man, not keeping those guys really fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Zergo says you do keep
Yeah,
them.
buddy, we're gonna be fine.
We're gonna be just fine. Yeah, that card's
It's like the Dark Magician girl. Like, he said no pickles. Just like protecting you. You got it, buddy. Don't sack on that
you
stuff.
got it.
We're gonna actually stick around. Oh, I love those kind of cards too, where it's like this goes away.
Actually, right. Next one is Kodos the Fanekeeper, 1 in Sultai colors, legendary zombie warrior, indestructible, 2/1. Whenever Kodos deals combat damage to a player, exile the top X cards of their library, where X is the amount of damage dealt. You may cast any number of spells with mana at value X or less from among them without paying their mana cost.
Oh wait, you can target either player with a mill?
Exile the top X cards of their library.
Oh, whoever you hit.
It's whoever you hit.
And you get to steal their stuff.
Yes.
Ganti, eat your heart out.
But,
like, goddamn.
but it's indestructible. So the thing is you probably want to get counters on this guy.
2/1 indestructible is already like not bad, right? I mean, it dies to like -X, but there's only like what 2 cards that do that.
I think in this set, yes.
And then there's also like the exile card, I guess, that would get it.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. What a sick blocker. And then you want to stack counters on it or something, but
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That made me have a thought. Continue.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say after this guy, right? Because I didn't have anything else for him. I think that the blue-red siege is actually worth it for Teamer specifically. So the blue-red siege. As this enchantment enters, choose Jeskai or Teamer. Jeskai, whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card.
Yeah.
Teamer is creatures you control get +1/0 and have trample and haste.
Yeah.
Elephants go burr.
I remember liking
Elephants
that a
go
lot.
burr.
That's why
Slam,
I was
slam,
asking
slam.
about it. Because I remember reading the black-white one and then the is it one and being like, dude, like these sieges are so much better than the original ones. Not that I didn't play Frontier Siege or whatever it was called and have a good time, but still.
Yeah.
Oh man, so cool. I think the Boros one was actually exciting as well. I just forgot what it was called, but it was pretty aggressive, just like the Absent one, or not Absent, I should say, or Orzhov. Although the Iset one is 3 mana, so it was also pretty aggressive. While you're looking for that, I think your last card is also that was the last one.
We did the
Baron
last
Subsiege.
one because we did Baron Subsiege
How come
already.
the sieges aren't all next to each other? That's so dumb. I thought
Because they
would've been.
hate me.
Why wouldn't they just put them next to each other?
Because Mythic Spoiler hates me.
What are you guys doing over there?
What are you doing?
Can you control F siege? Well, there it is. Windcrack siege. That's what it was called. They're all like the lands. It's like the land names.
As this enchantment enters, choose Mardu or Jeskai Mardu. If a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger. That ability triggers an additional time. Jeskai, at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 red Growling creature token. It gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. I think it's just really, like, I don't think this card I think this card's great for Mardu,
Yes.
but again, I don't think you want to be red. So it's like, it's a card that you're absolutely putting in your deck, and you're like, I'm going to splash.
Well, like if you're playing Boros and you just don't get the black cards because you're getting hated out, this card just seems good to me.
I agree.
And for what it's worth, there's like a decent number of like okay Boros cards. Like they're not
Right.
like you don't have to play black, but like you should try.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool too.
Oh my gosh, I love this
Thunder
card.
of Unity.
I want that card so bad.
For those that don't know, it's a saga. It's Mardu colors. Chapter 1, you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life, which 3 mana doing that, pretty standard. And then the second and the third chapter are whenever a creature you control whenever a creature you control enters this turn, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So like really mobilize. Just doing that all day. ETB draining is pretty kind of cracked. See, these cards like really like are best friends. You know what I mean? Like that's really cool. Double triggers also on certain mobilizes because they're not all mobilize 1. A lot of them are like X or 2 or whatever. The double trigger on the Windcrag Siege I think is going to really matter for certain attackers.
I think all the sagas pretty much are like pretty hot.
All the sagas
this
I think are
Abzan
cool.
one too.
Yes.
Like you're like, oh, make 3 dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, put 3 counters. Trample and lifelink to everyone.
See, that's why I like this set so much though, because like now that we're done going over the cards, we can like yap a little bit. But when you played Tarkir the first time, Khans comes out and it's hype because it's Khans and it's awesome. But it was pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious which clans were the best, and it was Abzan. Like Abzan out the gate, we were like, oh wow,
They did it again.
You're playing. Yeah, they did it twice, bro. But like, this feels way more balanced. Like all the colors feel like they got some love. Obviously,
Except for Jeskai.
Well, Jeskai I think for standard got some love. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like limited wise, Abzan feels like old Abzan. But for standard, I think they all got cards that I really want to play with, and I can already kind of see the brews that are going to be cooked. I'm so excited. I can't wait till like next week or 2 weeks from now when all the 5-0s start hitting and whatever the first standard event is, because like it's modern season for RCQs now.
Cry for me.
So we're not going to get to see
Even like 4-1, baby.
every weekend.
First one.
Did you?
Yeah.
You played a modern one already?
Yeah.
I didn't know modern RCQ started.
No, I'm talking about I 4-1 to league.
Oh,
remember it was that joke league that like I
Yeah.
faced tier 3 decks for 4 of my matches.
Tier 2, but yes.
No,
They were all
tier 3.
What do you mean? Splitter Twin is real. Really tier 2. 48% win rate or something. That's almost 50. That's almost balanced.
Almost.
Anyways, I think that's pretty much everything we wanted to talk about. Let us know what you guys thought. We changed it up a bit. It was still about 2 hours, right around where we want to be. But we wanted to talk about more of some things and less of others. I cut the fucking rules section down a bunch because who cares about all that? If you have questions, ask us in Discord.
We threw less cards at you and kind of talked about like what we think is actually going to be good in regards to like archetypes, and we've talked about rares.
Yeah, and hopefully that helps too, because we don't get to show you guys the cards on screen anymore, but obviously a lot of you guys listen while you're driving. If you're curious about certain cards or anything we talked about, hit us up on Discord. Let's talk about what we just chatted. Tell us where you agree or disagree with. I know some people were actually saying they thought Mardu didn't look good in limited. I think I heard somebody mumbling about that in the store or on Discord, I want to say. And so if that's true, why do you think that? I'm curious because, I mean, as I'm looking at it, I agree with Frank. I think it looks pretty strong. But apparently we're all doing, what are they called? Whippets? Apparently whoever said that was doing whippets. Anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
No. I mean, I actually really enjoyed the formatting of this.
Yeah,
where
I agree.
it was a less about cards, even though, again, I simp for data. But I like that it made us kind of take time to think critically about like, hey, here's some concepts that will put you further than just like me telling you about cards. Like, this is how they go together. Here's some
Right.
examples. Ooh.
What's it called? Let us know if our advice helped you at your pre-release, or let us know in the comments if we failed you and you O3'd, and if it was our fault that you O3'd, and it definitely wasn't your fault because you suck. Comment down below. Otherwise, yeah, hit us up on Discord. We are super happy to chat. Keep an eye out for our episode that's coming out later in the week, or maybe in the weekend, depending on when we upload it. Hopefully we get you guys just 2 episodes in a week, which would be kind of fun for once. Extra content is never a problem, I suppose, and it's going to be about the upcoming BNR. We're going to chat more about Modern. Maybe we get some standard updates. Who knows? I mean, I keep hearing numbers about like other formats getting X, Y, or Z. Maybe Legacy gets an update for once. I guess they've been getting updates every couple BNRs recently, which is nice. But as a Legacy enjoyer currently, I'd like to see something. I'd love to see some unbans in Modern, but we'll talk about all that on the next episode. It might not be as long because this is a pre-release episode, lots of new stuff to talk about, but we'll record that Tuesday night, a day after the BNR. It is currently 1 in the morning on Monday, so Frank's got to get to bed for work, and then in 9 hours we're going to find out what gets banned or unbanned, and yeah, pray for us because it's going to go crazy. And show up to pre-release. Go to your local game store. If you're local to us, come visit us. If you're not, go to your local game store. I'm telling you, Tarkir is going to go crazy. Use the advice Frank gave you. If it works, let us know. We want to hear about it.
Send me a kiss.
Yeah, and otherwise, yeah, please check, if you haven't, one more time, just check if you're subscribed. 90 million% of you guys aren't subscribed. It literally says it on the thing, like, not
It says
subscribed.
that you hate us.
Yeah, it's like hatred.
Hatred.
Anyways, catch you guys next time. That's our show.
Whoa, no. Shout outs to Nancy Steroids for doing our intro
True,
and our
yeah,
outro
that's what I meant,
music.
shout
He
outs.
just released a new EP, so please go ahead and check him out on
Hell
Spotify.
yeah, Nancy Steroids.
It goes a long way. Shout out to Borsat Gaming for letting us do our stuff in store. If you want to get some Tarkir stuff, it's running off his shelves as he said, so go ahead and do that. He will ship to you anywhere.
Yes, I am selling out fast, by the way.
Shout out to MTG Chicago for one, helping us with all of our recording. He helps us with the equipment for the video. He does the editing. He does the thumbnails. He is the best. He is our king.
And check out his channel. Subscribe there too. I think he's pushing like 6,000 subscribers on MTG Chicago.
Yeah.
All of our weekly gameplay for Magic goes there, and our upcoming when he gets the SD cards from me, we've got the store championship for Aether Drift on there as well. So that was pretty cool. Lots of cool standard decks.
Yeah, and then lastly, big sloppy wet kiss to our patrons. You make it possible for you make it possible for us to do what we do, keep the lights on, upgrade our equipment. We are so grateful for you, and keep an eye on the lookout because we've done the newest thing for having me watch anime.
Yeah, I'm gonna make Frank watch. I've been killing slimes for 300 years. Sorry, Gabe. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we'll be starting on that in the next week or so.
Sure. And then for those that are just with us for the ride, we appreciate you and thank you for joining. With that being said, that's our show. Catch you guys next time, very, very soon, and peace. Interesting stuff to talk about.
No.
Comments like the most nothing and anything.
Most nothing.
I was so confused. It's like, what do you mean by this? Because I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, this card triggers beans. I was like, damn, man,
That's interesting.
that's not interesting. He does that a lot though when we're in chat. I'm like, interesting, right? No, dude. You are not allowed to use that word.
No, dude.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
All right. Let me make sure my spoiler is open on my phone just in case an emergency comes up.
What up?
Okay. What episode is this?
51.
Holy. All right, Sal. 2 episodes this fucking week. Thank you so much for everything, as always. Hit you with the clap, hit you with the clap, and hit you with the clap. I don't know if you could hear those. Here's a couple snaps for the audio. And hopefully we're synced by now. Tales from the Tap, episode 51, coming at you live in the flesh, 10:38. Hopefully we'll be done before 1. 3, 2.
Hi, my name is Frankie, and welcome to Tales from the Tap. This is my, oh my gosh, let's hold on.
Hold on, restart.
I'll restart.
Hold on. Okay, Sal. We're restarting that. Restarting that. Okay. Feel free to save the bloopers for some outtakes. Anyways, Tales from the Tap, episode 51, coming at you live in 3, 2.